Well, happy Friday, everyone. You know what that means? Another live lawn care Q&A. My name is Ron Henry, and I am here to help answer your lawn care questions. Now, if this is the first time you're joining us, welcome. We are super happy to have you here. The way this works is really simple. On your screen, you're going to see a chat box, and in there you can enter your question, concern, comment of the day, and I work through them in the order that I receive them. Now, sometimes I have the answer, sometimes I do not, but either way, we have a great time talking about lawn care and sometimes life topics. So hopefully everyone is having a good May. It's Cinco de Mayo weekend. So, if you guys are going out to have some fun, be safe out there. And it's the start of, the prime part of the growing season if you're in the Southeast anyway. So I've got lots of pictures from viewers. Some of them are in the live stream tonight. They've sent some pictures in. I'll give you guys some updates on the lawn, how it's doing. And I'm going to share something cool with you guys that only Academy members already know about. So you guys are going to be the second ones to know as far as something that is coming. So stay tuned for that. All right. So hopefully all is well. As always, we're coming to you guys live on YouTube being our primary platform, but you can also find us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. If you are on Instagram, you're not going to be able to see anything that I share on the screen. And tonight actually might be a pretty good night to be on YouTube, so you can actually see it. But yeah, I still bounce back and forth and make sure you guys are included in the conversation. As you guys are, sitting down with your beverage of choice to relax, be sure to hit that like button on your way in. It really does help out a lot as far as the algorithm goes and gets more people coming here. And I really would appreciate it. It costs you absolutely nothing. All right, guys. So let's get into the live stream. Let's see what we have going on tonight. First of all, Mr. Glycan's Rule is here from the Pacific Northwest. Says, looking forward to the live. Hello from the frosty Pacific Northwest. Well, hopefully it doesn't stay frosty for too much longer. Hopefully the weather is starting to warm up a little bit. It's can't stay winter, can't say winter forever. the next up, we may as well get this out of the way. Our fragrance journey with Sup Ron, Roll Tide. What's going on? Fragrance journey. I've accepted it. I realized it's going to be a thing, so I'm just gonna live with it. One day you'll get better taste in football, but until then, we will continue. And yeah, guys, it's been a great week. So the lawn is really beginning to wake up and take off. There's been some stuff I'm going to share with you guys tonight that I've been working on for coming up on a year now, and that you guys will be able to see that I think you guys are gonna like. You're not gonna be able to get it just yet. It's gonna be a couple of weeks before it's available, but you guys at least know what's coming in case you're so interested. All right, so we have Jason Harrison in the live stream. He says, happy Friday. Let's get the glass of lemonade and cheers to May. Let's do that. I agree with you there, Jason. And on the gram, we got Shauna saying, what's going on? Happy Friday. We got a few others here in the live stream tonight. We got Mr. Pineda saying, received and applied my velocity PM yesterday. Thanks again. You are very, very welcome. I'm glad that got to you safe and sound. Definitely keep me posted on the results. I've already been hearing good things. So definitely let me know how things are working for you guys. On the topic of email, this past week I've had to do some fixes with my email. So if you guys have been emailing me and you haven't been getting responses, that has been fixed. It's been fixed as of this afternoon. So I got that all squared away. I had some problems with the email that I had to get fixed. So both should be good to go going forward. So just wanted to, if you guys were having email me and not hearing anything back, it's not that I don't like you. It's just there was a problem with my mail, and now it's I got it all taken care of. So guys, the current state of the lawn, I can show you guys, we'll go into this a bit more, but just as a fun fact, right? Something kind of cool. So today, right before the live stream, like literally right before, like a biblical amount of rain just dropped on the lawn. So I'll show you guys this, right? So this is what was happening literally, maybe 30 minutes ago or so. And what was funny about this picture, right, is you guys have, your pictures via, if you have like Google or you have any of these other apps, it'll say, hey, on this day, this is what your lawn looked like. Most people get pictures of like family members and vacations. I get shown what my lawn used to look like on a certain day. So it's fun point is in 2021, the same day, this is what my lawn looked like. That's what was happening. And you can see I just gotten through top dressing it. You can see the super sod level mix on the lawn. And then this afternoon, that's how it looks. So it was just, who would have thunk it, right? A couple years later, same day, heavy rain, and the same thing happened. So I mean, obviously just coincidence, but it was pretty funny. So I figured I would share it with you guys. You can see how far it's come. That's where it was in 2021. Not bad. However, I would argue that is much more better, right? Much more better. All right, cool. So we have our first super chat of the evening. Let's get that taken care of. I have to put respect on his name. Mr. Archie Amos is in the live stream. Thank you so much, Archie.
Super chat received.
He says, evening, young man. My grass is popping. Took a few seasons to get here. Supersod level mix arrives this week. Nice. Yeah, that's not uncommon, Archie. The things you find is that as you work on your lawn consistently, and again, the key word there is consistently, each year you tend to start a little bit further ahead. So if the lawn was really good last year, there's a lot of reason why it should be even better this year, because you should be starting from a better place than you were the year before, right? So not surprised at that at all. Again, thank you so much for the super chat. And because of that, you are currently our first, only, and highest donation of the evening. You are our show sponsor. So there you go. Your name in lights for whatever that means to you. All right, next up, we got Mr. Jason Harrison. He says, seed heads are just a part of life, Alex. Don't be ashamed of seed heads or anything. It's not about the destination, it's the journey. I couldn't have said it better myself, Jason. Yeah, this time of year, guys, seed heads are going to become a thing. And it's really going to ramp up as we get into May. For most lawns, if your nutrient is where it needs to be, it's typically a 2 to 3 week problem. I've had a lot of viewers over the years email me around this time of year saying they have seed heads in their lawn. What's going on? What's wrong with my grass? And there's only been one that they stuck around all the way until late July. And when we got into like mid-June, I said, hey man, it's been 4 weeks now and they're not getting any better. You might want to get a soil test done. He's like, no, I'll just wait a little bit longer. It's probably fine. I said, okay, we're out of June, getting into early July. Might want to get a soil test done. He said, I'll wait. Finally, end of July, I convinced him to get a soil test done, and his nutrient levels across the board are all low. So I'm like, oh, I mean, that it's a couple of things. Normally it's a 2 to 3 week problem with healthy soil, but if you got nutrient deficiency, that will, they can stick around for a lot longer. The thing that you can do for seed heads, and it's not going to get rid of them altogether. It's not going to prevent them altogether, but a tool you can use to suppress them is growth regulator. So if you use Primo Max, especially if you'd introduced it last month before the seed has really become a thing, this is really going to help pull back or help prevent the seed heads from becoming too rampant in your lawn. As far as one of the labeled uses for Primo, it is for seed head suppression, particularly in cool season lawns if you're trying to hide poa annua. So if you haven't got on that Primo train as yet, consider it, because seed heads are cometh, and if you don't want them, you want to try and limit them in your lawn as much as you can. Some growth regulator in your life would be a good thing. So next up, we got Alex Cristiano. And in here a little bit, I'll show you guys the results you can expect on, or you can get out of a lawn with growth regulator and a good nutrient program here coming up soon. But patience. Alex is up next. He says, I hesitantly emailed photos. She isn't at her best. Here we go. He's making all kinds of, I don't want to say excuses, but he's qualifying the pictures before we show them. I get it. He says, dry spots, bare spots, seed heads. But you can see how much needs to be filled in. I can't wait to aerate. If I don't water within 5 days, it turns brown. I get it, Alex. So your lawn, it's on the struggle bus, but all lawns start there. All lawns are on the struggle bus at some point before they get better. And what he's talking about is this is his lawn. I think you're really, you're bashing it a little bit much. Yeah, I mean, is it going to get better? Yes. I mean, is it 100% of where you want it to be as yet? No, but it's not bad. I mean, there's a lot of people that would take that. And you can see in the background there his Fiskars his Fiskars mower. He took his push manual reel mower and did an electric conversion for it. Alex, you didn't send me a picture of that, so we gotta get that next week. But overall, man, I mean, I wouldn't complain too much. I mean, you've got plenty of time to get a lot of this fixed. The growing season is just getting started. The color is already looking good. So when you get out there with the top dress, and if you keep up with your mowing, the lawn is just going to get better and better and better. So we all start from somewhere, and the big thing is just consistency. Just stick with it, and the lawn will improve over time. I would not get too stressed. Let not your heart be troubled. It shall get better. It will get better. All right. Next up, we have Jackie Bear's in the house. He says, Brother Ron, y'all have an excellent stream. Happy Cinco de Mayo weekend. I holla. As always, thank you so much, Jackie. I appreciate you. And then we have a super chat coming in from Mr. Ted Rogers. What's going on, Ted? Get you taken care of here.
Super chat received.
He says, my man, my yard is thriving. Thriving, huh? It's a bold claim, Ted. We'll see. I have yet to do any weed control. I didn't have the confidence to spray until I practiced some on my far back part of the yard. Until then, I hired a company to do it. All is well. Hope all is well. Yeah, man, I can't complain, Ted. So here's the thing. When you're trying to figure out spraying on your lawn, if you're a little leery or you're not totally confident about using a backpack sprayer, use water. Just put water in it. The biggest thing, the one thing you have to get right to get good results with a sprayer is calibrating it. And by calibrating it, I mean this. You have to know what kind of walking pace you need to have to put out 1 gallon of water or product mix, whatever happens to be in the tank, over 1,000 square feet. Because the dilution rate that we use for most products is 1 gallon per 1,000. So if you can figure out what your walking pace needs to be with your particular sprayer on the setting you're running it, with the spray tip that you're using, then after that, it's just reading the labels, mixing, putting the right amount of products in, and away you go. It's really not that difficult. So what I'd say for someone that's new is just start with water. Go out there and measure off a 20 by 50 foot area of your lawn. That's 1,000 square feet. After you do the calibration, which I think you've already seen, but I've got videos on it. I'll link one here for you in a second if you want. Follow that, get that video, watch that video, and then that based on that, just test with it, and then you'll be able to to figure out what your walking pace needs to be, and then you can spray liquids with confidence. So nothing to worry about there. Okay. All right. So next up we have let's see what we got here. Next up we got Alex Ristano. Why do I say Ristiano? Why do I keep saying that? Ristano. So you put you spill iron on your pavement, it stains it. Ristain. I'll remember that. Ristain, like stain, like staining concrete. Okay, Alex Ristano. He says, what's the best way to push areas to fill in? Spoon feeding urea weekly between my regular schedule, seed in Monaco last year, and some areas struggle to grow this year, or seed after leveling. So what you're doing is going to help quite a bit, Alex. The mowing, like you out there getting out there and mowing regularly at lower heights, is going to encourage your Bermuda to spread. If you have some areas that are bare, let me look at your lawn here again. But you have some areas that are a little bit bare, which I don't really see a lot. I mean, you've got, I guess, one area there near the shed and maybe some smaller areas, but I mean, nothing that I would, I'd be in too much of a rush to get out there and throw some grass seed out for. But if you have larger areas that are not in those pictures, then yes, and you already, you did a project where you use Monaco. If you want to put some more out, you can, but what you're doing is going to encourage that. Also, using growth regulator, using Primo, is going to also encourage lateral growth coupled with your regular mowing. So it's just it's that and then time. It's just a time thing, man. It's just gonna take time to spread out. But I mean, overall, I gotta tell you, you are being, in my opinion, harder on the lawn than you should. I mean, is it where you want it? Not yet, but I mean, it's not bad, man. And again, we are just now getting consistent heat. So, once that becomes a thing, you'll be surprised at how quickly the lawn will fill in and start looking a lot better. So keep up with what you're doing. Seems to be working, and I would not stress out too much about it. I think you're definitely on the right track. We got T1000 in the house. Just happy Friday, all. It's going on, T1000, and then Ted, what's going on? Brad Greer, saying, what's up, fellas? What's going on, Brad? Hopefully you're doing well. Thanks for coming to hang out in the live stream. I appreciate you. And Mr. Robert Rainey, the man, the myth, the legend, that guy, as we refer to him in the Golf Course Lawn Academy, saying, good evening, everyone. What's going on, Robert? So, guys, as far as some stuff I wanted to show you, and moderators, if you're here, check the your text, please. So if based on what I was telling you guys about the lawn, right, some things I've been working on, and you guys have commented, like how the color this year looks really good, and how there seems to be a boost and a definite difference between this year and last year, right? Between this time this year and last year, anyway. So some things I've been playing with. Let me give you guys a current state of the lawn to show you what I am working with. So this is actually, you know what? First, before I do that, let me get out here and take care of another super chat. More on that. I'll be right back with you. Got a super chat. This one from Mr. Luis Ayabareño. Hopefully, I'm not butchering your name, Luis.
Super chat received.
Says, evening all, almost gave up on Primo Max last season, finally cracked the code, applied last week, and finally see the brakes applied on the lawn. Grass greened up. Is it normal to see slight yellowing after PGR? Yeah, it's not uncommon, Luis, after the first application. So for the first time you apply it, it's not uncommon for you to see some temporary yellowing. It's called tip burn or bronzing. A way you can get around that is if you spray at low rates initially. So, let's say you're spraying, I know you have close in grass. Let's say you're spraying at like, the monthly application rate is say half an ounce, say 0.5 fluid ounces, right? Because it makes the math easy. Instead of spraying that once a month, and initially, and especially as your initial app, start out with like 0.25. So take that monthly rate, cut it in half, and use that as your first app, and then you can ramp it up if you want to. I find that spraying at low rates twice per month works well for me, works well for my lawn, but you may find you may have to increase it a little bit. But the big thing is start light and then introduce more and more of it to the plant, and you should find it should tolerate it just fine. The issue with the temporary yellowing or tip burn that you experienced is really, it typically only happens the first time you spray it. So your first app of the season, what can happen is you can spray Primo, 2-3 days later, you can see some slight yellowing to the grass. When you mow that off, then you're good to go. It's green and then you're fine. I cover that in a blog post on growth regulator, which I'll link here in the chat in case you guys are interested. But I talk about like tip burn and how to prevent it. And the big thing is just spray at lower rates. That's what's gonna help you get a good result. Okay, so PGR application tips, and there you go. So if you've not read that, you're considering introducing Primo to your program, check that out. You'll find it useful. All right, guys. So, the lawn has been looking a lot better this year than last year. Some of you guys have commented, and I'll give you guys a current status. You saw how the back lawn already looked with rain, but this is it this afternoon prior to the rain coming down. So this video that you're watching is a few hours old. You can see the stripe action is on point. This one was laid. These stripes were laid with the Allet, the C27. Looking pretty good in my opinion. And again, the big thing is like the richness of the color overall of the turf just looks really good compared to this time last year. Normally, I was well into like late May, almost June before it had that kind of color and looked that good. So some things I've been working on, you guys may have noticed, is that on the Golf Course Lawn Store, a couple of things have been sold out for a while, right? So if I show you here for a little bit, if we go to the Golf Course Lawn Store, to the lawn fertilizer section, you'll notice that Turfplex is no longer available and that Nutrisolve is no longer available, right? So Pitch Tosh, definitely sad days. Something that, a product I know you guys have used for a while and have liked, that I really liked. But something I've been working on for really coming up on a year now is replacements for both of those. So I'll show you guys here in a second. Actually, I'll show you guys the what do you guys want to see first? You want to see the bottles or the formulation? Let's see the bottle first. So first of all, this was a couple of samples. I partnered with the Andersons on this. They reached out to me, saying, they'd like to start working with the Golf Course Lawn Store and saying, what do you need? What would you like to see if you could, in other words, if you could open our catalog and have anything you want, what would you want? And I said, well, I could really use a good fertilizer, a nice solid liquid fertilizer that I can use in spoon feeding apps along the lines of how Turfplex behaves. So something along like that formulation, I really like it. But if we can make it a little bit better, that would be incredible, right? And I said this, and the same thing was true for the micronutrient, like Nutrisolve, great micronutrient, but as always, always a little bit better, never done. So they sent me, we tried a couple of things. This is actually the final that they sent here, but I can show you some of it, but you can see this is a sample from the Andersons for Ron Henry. Again, I've had this for over a year now testing out, and then this is the micronutrient. I've got some of these blocked off because I was showing this to some people. I didn't want them to know, one, the name of the person who my contact is there, and I didn't want to expose that, and also who I was working with. I didn't want to share that quite yet. But this is the replacement to Turfplex, and then this, the other one, is going to be the replacement to Nutrisolve, right? So a white bottle is not really useful. So why don't I show you guys what the actual label looks like? Now, you guys can't get this as yet. It's going to be, we anticipate having these in the store in a few weeks. But what you will be able to do soon, hopefully next week, is these two. So if you look on the store, Turfplex and Nutrisolve, these will get replaced with the two new fertilizers, and then you'll be able to add your name to the list to be notified as soon as I set them in stock, for you to be able to order if you so desire. So enough of the jibber jabber. Let's see what we're working with here. So the fertilizer that's going to replace Turfplex is this guy. So it's the same. It's as far as the as far as your levels. I stuck with the 22.3. Actually, let me get you off here so they can see you a little bit better. So it's still a 22.3 blend. The thing that we did is, while something that's common in a lot of ecology fertilizers is they like to add kelp to it. So what we did with this is we ensured that kelp was also added as well. Spoon feeding was super important to me, that you could spray this, not have to water it in. There was no need for that. There was no chance of burning, and that it also mixed well with all the stuff that I like to spray on my lawn. And then, but conversely, you guys like to spray on your lawn. So tested it with Primo, even tested it with spraying mixed herbicides with it to make sure that it behaved properly. What else? Obviously, tested it with the Miramichi carbon kit. So the Release Zero carbon kit at different rates. And it passed with flying colors. So in addition to having kelp in it, we've also added fulvic acid. So what that's going to do is it does a couple of things. One, as the label says, it helps with microbial activity. But what fulvic acid is really good for is when you're doing foliar feeding, really enhancing the nutrient uptake. So you can think of this as, like, in my opinion, a better version of Turfplex. Again, it was not a small amount of work to get this to this point. There are several iterations, several back and forths, from like dry products to liquid products to trying different formulations. So I found something that I really liked, and I think you guys are really going to like this. So as we go down some more. The nice thing too is, for those of you that are used to using Turfplex, the application rates are going to be the same. So it's going to be 6 ounces per 1,000. You're still going to get 1/10 of a pound of N whenever you do that. But one thing I've always thought that could be better is, if you ever look at the label for the fertilizer that it's replacing, is that you only got 1/10 of of a percent of iron in Turfplex. And I know you guys like that mean green, and I thought, why don't we make this fertilizer, so give it more so that it can be for the people that only want to have like one-stop shopping. Like you just have like, if you only have one fertilizer, one liquid fertilizer to spray on your lawn that covers you from a core micronutrient perspective and also has more iron. So if we go back here, so Turfplex had a tenth of a pound of iron. In this, we bump that up to 0.75, so it's got 7.5 times the amount of iron in it that Turfplex did, and the color response in this is noticeable. So between the boost in iron, the fulvic acid, and then just I guess I asked the folks, my contact at the Andersons, how do you guys make, like, the color response that I'm getting from it is really nice. Like, what else do you guys put in here? And they said, well, pretty much what's on the labels is what's in there, but we always have our secret sauce that helps our product perform that much better. And I would wholeheartedly agree with that. So you're getting a seaweed product and also fulvic acid in a 22.3. The rates are the same as what you would get out of if you're applying Turflex. So 6 ounces per 1,000. And I'm really excited. It's really cool to be able to offer something to be able to replace which was a good product in my opinion with something that is even better. It takes it to another level in my opinion. But now, what about folks like like Robert Rainey, like who else can I think of? A lot of you guys that just where deep green is not deep enough. Like, you want that deep green. So even though the levels, the micronutrient levels in this, I think are pretty good, that for most people they're gonna be pretty happy with it. Why not have a micronutrient that helps support this? And for that, we're gonna move over to this guy and introduce the Golf Course Lawn Micros blend. So much like along the same lines, again, partner with the Andersons on this. This has both kelp in it and also, again, fulvic acid. We increase the amount of fulvic acid in this guy. It's got 1.5% of both fulvic acid and kelp extract, which is, again, nice. The big thing about it is that you're going to see an improved color response in the lawn using this. That is what I have been using. I mean, testing it all of last year, but that's what I've been using on the lawn. And you guys have been commenting. Many of you guys, again, I haven't said anything to anyone other than some of the Academy members who knew about this. But you guys have commented how the color of the lawn is so much different. It's much different this year compared to last year. And the only thing that's really changed is the micronutrient that I've been using. I'm still using the 901C carbon kit, but with that, I am using this micronutrient that the Andersons so generously blended up for me. So the application rate is going to be the same as what you did with Nutrizolve. 6 ounces per 1,000 is what it calls for, but really, I've tested it as low as 3 ounces per 1,000 when I've combined that with Release 901C, and it looks gorgeous. Like, what you're seeing here is that product. Let me show you here. What you're seeing in this picture which was taken today, is Release 901C carbon kit and that micronutrient blend at 3 ounces per 1,000. So even at rates slightly below what are on the label, it works beautifully. So I think you guys are really going to like this. Again, here soon you will see that that the Turfplex and hang on a second here, let me get this back up. That both Turfplex and Nutrizolve will go away, and these two will show up, and you'll be able to pre-order them. So almost like if you were to click on Nutrizolve now, where you see here where it says notify me when available, that's what you'll have. And then again, in a couple of weeks, we anticipate shipping this. So hopefully everything works out by the end of May, maybe hopefully sooner, you guys will be able to order this and have that good for your lawn. So really excited about it. I've been holding it back because, again, the big thing was it's easy for someone to send something out and for me to be able to say that, we'll just get it and throw it out there and just sell it. But I really wanted to test it and make sure that it did everything that I wanted it to do. So again, I've had it. Again, you can see the bottles. These have been sitting in this guy's empty, and the other one, I've had to reload this one. But these have been sitting in my garage. I've been using these over the past year, and again, throwing everything that I could think of at it. It's past the flying colors, mixes beautifully, and I think you guys are really going to be happy with it when you guys get your hands on it. So that's the cool thing, that if you're here on the live stream, you guys got to find out. The Academy members knew about it sooner. They saw the labels before anyone else, like a couple hours ago. but you guys are the second to see it. So stay tuned. You'll be able to put your name on the list here to be able to get them here in a second. And I really hope you guys like the new liquid fertilizers as much as I do. All right, we got another super chat one here from Mr. Lance F. Let me jump over here and grab that. Thanks so much, Lance.
Super chat received.
He says, "Happy Friday. We are live." Man, you would get me in trouble with is it Bruce? Not Bruce. Yeah, Michael is a big brother. So Bruce, man, Bruce Buffer. He says, "Sent you an email of our updated lawn renovation of 365 SS is on fire." Yeah, buddy. Still have lots of work to do. Thanks for all you do. Thank you so much for the super chat, Lance. I really appreciate it. Let's see if I can find your photos. And after I show this picture, I got to show Ted's photo. I didn't. He sent me a picture of his lawn, and I got sidetracked, and I didn't do it here really quick. So let me show you guys that. So see what you're working with here, Lance. If I can find what you just sent to me. Yeah, here we go. But yeah, overall looking. Let me see what you got. What you got going on here? Oh man, that color looks good. Yeah, sweet. All right, cool. So this is what Lance is working with on his lawn, and I have to admit, color looks pretty awesome. Nice deep green, looking good, man. Looking really, really good. And again, the season is just getting started. So the lawn looks like this already, and we're only in May. Give it more time; it's going to get even better as time progresses. So we're still pretty early in the season. As far as the lawn, at least warm season lawns anyway, being at their peak. So yeah, man, the best is yet to come. Best is yet to come. On the topic of awesome looking lawns, Ted sent us a picture of his lawn, and I wanted to make sure I recognize that. Thanks for the super chat again, Ted. And even though you are, hang on, that is not Ted's lawn. Hang on a second here. That is Ted's lawn. Ted's like, what? That's not mine. That looks awesome. Wow. So very deep color. You were not kidding, Ted. Now here's the thing, Ted. Look how far we've come. Now, if any of you guys have been watching the live stream for any period of time, Ted has been on the live stream a regular for a while. Last year he did a full renovation. He leveled it. He had choice words during the leveling job because it was a lot of headache, a lot of work, and he wasn't sure it was going to work out. And look how far things have come. I mean, it looks absolutely incredible. Color looks great, and again, great work, man. Just stick with it, and you can't help but get better. So congrats on the amazing lawn. It's gonna get even better as you keep working on it. All right, next up we have a comment here from Instagram. It's from Phyllis. She says, "Hey Ron, this is Phyllis from Texas. Hello, fellow lawn connoisseurs. Smash the thumbs up button. Did my thing on YouTube. Back to watching on TV." Thank you so much. I appreciate it, Phyllis. And definitely, guys, if you guys are enjoying the live stream, again, I know we're only 30 minutes in. I've thrown a lot at you, but if you guys wouldn't mind hitting that like button, I really would appreciate it. We got 138 people in here currently, and only 62 likes. This makes me a sad panda. Come on, we can do better than that. So hit that like button. It costs absolutely nothing. It's a free way to support the content and the channel. All right, next up we have Mr. Jacob Madrid. What's up going on, Jacob? He says, "Happy Friday, everyone." Mr. Rick Lloyd says, "Happy Friday, y'all." And then next we have Diamond. Says who's in a pickle. He says, "I'm in a pickle, guys. I sprayed Tenacity and 2,4-D yesterday. Can I spray my prodiamine tomorrow? I got turf type tall fescue in Dallas Fort Worth." I don't see why not, Diamond. I mean, you didn't say what the pickle was. I mean, did you damage your lawn by spraying that combination on it? If so, it will recover. It's just grass. It'll bounce back. As far as you applying prodiamine, yeah, you can do that. I mean, the thing with prodiamine is you're going to want to water it in. If you already sprayed what I am imagining were foliar herbicide apps, meaning you sprayed them, let them dried. If you want to do your prodiamine tomorrow, yeah, it's no big deal. That should be just fine. But yeah, no issue with doing that. I mean, unless I'm not sure where in the country you are, but if it were me, I would aim to get your pre-emergent out a little bit sooner. But best time to apply pre-emergent was a while ago. Second best time is today. So if you can apply your prodiamine tomorrow, whenever you got a chance to get out there and do it, go for it. Cannot hurt. Thanks for the comment. If you need anything else, don't hesitate to reach out and let me know. All right, we have a super chat. This one's from Mr. Brian Hall. Thank you so much, Brian. I really do appreciate that.
Super chat
He says,
received.
even though I live in Michigan, the information and answers to the questions you provide, Ron, are priceless. Thank you in advance. I'm glad to hear that, man. I'm really, really glad to hear that. Because you really, I mean, between cool season grass and warm season grass, there are obviously differences. But really a lot of that is, the amount you feed it, and then also probably most importantly is when it comes to the the kind of herbicides that are safe for cool season grass versus warm season grass. And then like application rates, which again, the label will tell you that. So there's not, there's a lot more similarities between cool and warm season turf grass than there are differences. Like mowing is still a staple. Have a great looking lawn, do that. Proper feeding is important. Just adequate water is important. So as long as you do the basics, you're gonna have a good stand of grass. So I'm glad to hear that the content is useful. Really makes me feel good. So thank you for letting me know that. Appreciate it. All right, next up is Mr. Cedric G. He's in the house. He says, I'm just checking in and supporting the channel Big Ron. No questions tonight. Smash the like button, but too early for lemonade. I hear you, Cedric. I feel you. Tonight, again, I went premium tonight. I got straight Chick-fil-A tonight, lemonade, nothing else. I didn't water it down and go with anything else. Went with the good stuff tonight. So yeah. Next, we got Miles Blaine is in the house. Is happy Friday, Ron. Thanks for all the fantastic content over the years. You're the man. I appreciate it, man. I mean, I still have some content planned this year. You can imagine there's definitely going to be content on the new micronutrient and fertilizer once I have have them on the store and you guys can actually get them. But that's going to be a thing. So yeah, I've got content planned, but here's the thing. I've made so much of the same stuff over and over. Literally when people ask me something new, that's when I'm like, oh, I don't have anything like that. I'll go film a piece of content on it. But the shorts has been doing really well. Like you guys really like that. Like some of this stuff cut up into shorts has been good, but also out on the lawn doing those types of shorts and answering questions have been pretty good. It's been fun because I tend to be, here's the thing, guys. I've been told this and you guys probably disagree. I disagree with it. I've been told I'm a bit long-winded at times. So only having 60 seconds to get your point across or answer a question is a bit of a challenge that I've actually been enjoying. So I'm going to keep doing a lot of that content as long as you guys keep watching it and getting some value out of it. All right, next up, we have Bruce Cruise Fishing saying, happy Friday. What's going on, Brew Cruise? And then Spencer Bigham is in the house. He says, hey, Ron, your lawn is dominating the internet. I don't know about the internet. I mean, it's doing pretty well. It's not bad for Northeast Georgia. For my area, it's doing all right. But dominating the internet, I don't know, man. I mean, that's a big claim. But I am happy with it. I am very happy with where the lawn is this year, how it's woken up. Again, the new micronutrient, I am really liking it. Like, I mean, it with the 901C carbon kit, thing of beauty. And I'm not even spraying it at label rates. I'm spraying it at below those rates, and it's still producing a really, really nice result. So I'm happy with that. There's also some stuff I've been playing with as far as growth regulator. I'm gonna share with you guys. Again, the folks in the Golf Course Land Academy already know about it. I made a short video for them. Well, actually, it wasn't that short, like 8-minute video, 8-minute video talking about it. But there's some things with growth regulator you can play with as well that I'll share with you guys here in a little bit. But yeah, it's been a fun season for experimentation. But again, that new micronutrient is mean. Gives a new meaning to the term mean green. Really nice. All right, Jackie Jones is up next. He says, happy Friday, lawn care friends. What's going on, Jackie? And then next up is Pilot Guy 27. I don't think I've ever seen you before. So if you are new, welcome. He says, help in Maryland, I think. Just starting with you. I use a lawn service. I want to do it myself. Will take any advice. Weeds and grass are not growing in the yard with bare spots. Okay, so the thing, Pilot Guy 27, is that the lawn didn't get to where it was overnight, and you're not gonna fix it completely overnight. So you have to realize that it's going to be a process. But having said that, you'd be surprised over like a 30 or 60-day period how much better you can make a lawn, how much improvement you can really see in a lawn. Now, as far as the process that I teach in the Golf Course Lawn Academy, and that I think is a good explanation of how to take a lawn from like zero to hero. I'll show you here a little infographic that we have on the Golf Course Lawn Store. So if you go to the store, you just go to shop, and you scroll down, you scroll past the categories, and you get to this. So you think about how you get a lawn from looking like step 1, which is not great, to step 5. It's a simple 5-step process. And the first step, in my opinion, that you want to do is eliminate weeds. So to do that, you want to first determine a couple of things. One, what kind of grass do you have? With you being in Maryland, it's probably cool season grass, maybe a fescue or a rye, but figure out what kind of grass you have, because then that's going to allow you to know what type of herbicides are safe to use on your particular grass type to target the weeds you have in your lawn. Again, it's probably going to be cool season grass, but again, double check just to make sure. So using a proper selective herbicide to control weeds is step one. The next step is to do a soil test, because the question that I get probably more than anyone, I mean, I don't know, it's probably neck and neck. The two questions I get the most are, one, what fertilizer should I use? And then what can I use to get rid of this weed? Those are probably neck and neck. But the which fertilizer should I use is a pretty common question. And the way to most correctly answer that is with data. And the easiest way to gather that data is to spend, $30 and get yourself a soil test kit and collect samples, send them out. Within a week, you're going to get results via email, and that's going to tell you what the nutrient deficiencies, if any, are in your lawn. What that's going to allow us to do is to move on to everyone's favorite, step 3, which is fertilize your lawn. So based on your soil test results, you're going to know what fertilizer is the best fit for your soil. You're going to feed the lawn, and then outside of that, it's just mowing. You obviously water the lawn, but mowing is the big thing that most people don't do enough of. These all can happen literally one after another. So really, you could start controlling weeds and do a soil test, within a same day if you wanted to. You could, and then once you get your soil test results back, you could go out and you can apply fertilizer, and then throughout all of this, you're mowing, right? So the big thing is, once you've got weeds under control, you've got a good nutrient program based on soil test data, it really comes down to mowing. He or she who mows most with good equipment, with sharp equipment, is going to have the best looking lawn. So that's it in a nutshell as far as like the core. Now, you can really go down the rabbit hole. You can start introducing biostimulants and growth regulator and all this kind of fun stuff that really does take a lawn from here, take a lawn from like an 8 and move it more to a 10. It really gives you that X factor. For example, if you look at how my lawn looks, like this is a picture of it, but then just looking at video, if I can show that, looking at video of it, like strictly using just like a single granular fertilizer feeding once per month, it's going to be tough to have a stand of turf grass that looks like that. And the reason why I know that is because I've done it. I've fed this exact lawn. I've done once a month feeding, and it just doesn't look anything like, it doesn't look like what you're seeing there. So if you're really going to, once you get past the basics, where you've got the weeds under control, you are feeding the lawn, you're mowing regularly, you've decided this thing is for you, that's when you can start introducing growth regulator, biostimulants, because it really does help you get more out of all the inputs that you make to your lawn. Something that else you can make use of is if you go to, I'll show you real quick here, if you go to the golf course lawn store, once you figure out, what type of grass you have and what kind of fertilizer you need, you can go to shop and then lawn fertilizer, and we have our product selection tool. It's like a fertilization and product selection calculator. So you can enter in your lawn size. So we'll say, the 4,000 square foot lawn, and it'll ask you a bunch of questions. What kind of grass you have? You got warm season grass, cool season grass. Do you want to do liquid spoon feeding or not? Which I would highly recommend. But I mean, again, that's a little bit more advanced. If you don't know what spoon feeding is, you can click on this. It'll take you to a blog post that will tell you all about it. Next up, it'll ask you, does your soil need phosphorus? Phosphorus is one of the major macronutrients. So there's 3. There's nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium. Phosphorus, the reason why we ask that before, as part of this quick questionnaire, is unlike nitrogen and potassium, which tend to go away, phosphorus stays in the soil much longer. So you really don't want to be adding phosphorus to the soil unless you absolutely need to. And with you being in Maryland, there's a lot of restrictions in the state of Maryland around even spraying fertilizer or applying fertilizer with phosphorus. So you want to have soil test results to show that you actually need it. All right. So based on that, that's what we have it set to no by default. It asks you, do you want to use growth regulator? Yeah, because it's awesome. And then any granular biostimulants, sure. And you hit next, and it will build out a program for 3 months for you. So it tells you, given the size of your lawn, a bag of humic max will work. Here's the carbon kit, which the 901C carbon kit I was telling you about, a bottle of growth regulator, Essential G, a couple bags of that, and you're off to the races. You add that to the cart, and you're good to go. So there's several tools and resources on the golf course lawn store. I'll link this stuff to you, Pilot Guy. One, to the infographic, which is here. and then to the program or the product selection tool, which is here. And the only other thing I tell you is just enjoy it, man. Enjoy the process. Your lawn can get a lot better, and it's going to get better if for no reason other than you're starting to pay attention to it. Like, you know, wherever you put attention into, like, that is really going to allow, you know, it's going to make all the difference. So you're putting attention to it, you're paying attention to it, and you're, you know, over time the lawn is going to get that much better. All right. Next up, and hopefully that helps. Again, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us. But again, between the blogs and that, you should be in good shape. All right. Next up is Brad Greer. It says, what seed mostly resembles Tipway 419 these days? All past hybrid seed varieties seem to be no longer made. Thanks. Yeah, Brad, it's a great question. There's not any that I'm aware of, you know. So Princess 77 and Princess 77 and Arden 15 were the closest that I ever found or came across to Tipway 419. And to your point, you can't get them anymore. So I don't have a good recommendation for you as far as that goes. Like, there's like Tahoma is, I'm not Tahoma, but Yukon is nice, Monaco is nice, but they are a more coarse looking grass blade than what you will get out of, you know, the hybrids that you're used to. So I don't have a recommendation for you, unfortunately, and I don't know of anything that's around the corner as far as a replacement for Arden 15 or Princess 77. So if you want a fine leaf Bermuda grass and you don't want to do, you know, you could either stick with Tipway 419, or you could move to one of the other improved cultivars like Tahoma 31. Tiff Tough is also nice too. But again, Tipway 419 is a nice grass too, you know, so just depends on what you're trying to accomplish. So hope that helps, sir. Again, sorry I don't have a better answer for you, but yeah, there is no replacement to my knowledge at this point as far as for a fine leaf seeded Bermuda that looks like hybrids do. All right, next up is Oconee Jacket. It says, top dressed and aerated a week ago. Recovery going well. Won't be long until things get great. Nice. Very nice. You send us pictures, man. Hopefully you took pictures before, during, and after. But I am with you. You know, getting your top dressing in this time of year is a smart thing to do, and I'm sure you're going to love the results of it. We got Ozman up next. He says, hey, Ron, thanks for talking me out of tenacity. My question is about spraying Celsius, and I have I don't know. Anyway, you have a backpack sprayer. Want to know how to apply 4 gallons over 9,000 square feet with Celsius if spot spraying. Well, here's the thing. If you're spot spraying, that means you're not blanket spraying the lawn. So it's not like you, if you're going to be spot spraying small little areas or small little clumps where there's weeds within 9,000 square feet, what I would say is just mix up, 4 gallons of it. And depending on how much area you're trying to spot spray, and then just continue to add mixes or add more product, or do another backpack sprayer worth of product, as needed. So if you told me, hey, how much should I mix it? I'm trying to blanket spray 9,000 square feet. That's easier to answer. But if you're just gonna, you're gonna spray a weed here and then walk 15 feet and spray another weed, it's tough to answer that without knowing how infested your lawn is, how many weeds you're dealing with. So I would say mix enough that you can plan to use it all. And if you need to do another blend, just go ahead and do it again. So hope that helps, Ozman. As far as rates for 4 gallons, it really depends on what weeds you're targeting. But if you're going to be spot spraying Celsius and you want to go at the medium or medium to lower rate, on the bottle, you will see a marking on the left side for 0.226 ounces. So I'm not sure if that's going to show up on the label here. Yeah, probably not. It's probably not going to focus. But if you're looking at the cup, the left side is 0.226, which is, if you add that to 4 gallons of water, that's the lower rate. Conversely, if you had one of these, like one of the packets, which I don't have one out here already open, you have one of these packets, this can be used for either 2 gallons of water with over 2,000 square feet at the higher rate, or one packet in 4 gallons of water over 4,000 square feet at the low rate. So it really depends on what weeds you're trying to control and what rate you need to mix Celsius at to be able to control them. But what I would say is mix what you intend to use, spot spray with that. And if you need to make more, you need to make another batch, just do so. But you don't want to, you don't want to go out and mix a bunch of stuff and have it just sitting in the sitting in the tank. So you mix what you tend to use and then use it, and then go on with the rest of your day. So hope that helps, sir. Yeah, tenacity on Bermuda is not a good idea if that's what you're planning on doing. So I'm glad that we got you off of that. All right, next up is Miles Blaine. He says, I'm combating what I think is SDS. I think you mean spring dead spot. I plan to apply headway in the fall. My question is there any benefit or risk to applying headway early in the season as well, say in February, March? No, not necessarily, not really, Miles. The earliest I've ever done a fungicide app has been in March. But that's really on a friend's lawn that had a history of disease issues. On my lawn, the earliest I've done it is April, because I've had large patch of my lawn in April, so I've done an application in April, and that helps keep it out. The time to prevent spring dead spot really is in the fall, and it's really a twofold approach. One, doing the fungicide app like you're after is a good thing. That's a smart thing to do. In October, November, I find works well. And then also reduce the amount of nitrogen that you're putting into the soil as fall gets here. So really, September or at the latest October, you really want to start, shutting it down as far as heavy nitrogen applications. So just something to consider, because between a fall fungicide and then limiting the amount of N going into the lawn, that's going to help you that's going to help you quite a bit with preventing spring dead spot. That's what's worked well for me. I used to have it every single year, and a couple of seasons of doing exactly what I just told you has made all the difference as far as it being less of an issue to almost the point of non-existent in my lawn these days. So hope that helps, sir. Just something to keep in mind. Yeah, spring dead spot is nasty because once it's here, there's not a whole lot you can do about it. Unfortunately, it's here. You're going to have to just kind of wait it out. All right. Next up is Kelly Ducey. I was waiting this. I knew it was going to happen eventually. It says, may the 4th be with you. Of course, a little bit early, but I get it. He says, I'm still in Puerto Rico, but my neighbor who is mowing my lawn says I have a tea time on my front lawn at 8 a.m. I asked him to please repair their divots and craters. Nice. So it looks, you get that golf course lawn look. They want to hit golf balls off of it. I hear you. One of my buddies that plays quite a bit of golf, he comes over every now and then. He says, man, you should put like a mat out here, a couple of flags. It'd be great. And I'm like, yeah, but they have to repair the divots. And I guess if I have a mat, it wouldn't be bad, but I really don't have time. I'm too busy doing other stuff. But I'm glad to hear that you're getting that kind of a compliment, Kelly. That's really, really cool. All right, next up is Michael Kuhn. He says, let's see here. He says, I have pesky rodents already starting in the yard again. Besides killing them all with products on Amazon that has social reviews with dealing with them, do you know of any good alternatives? What kind of rodents are we talking about? I'm not sure what you're dealing with, Michael. So it's hard to answer. I could tell you. So for you can consider grubs a rodent. Not grubs. Consider moles a rodent, which I kind of do. You can do things to limit their food source. So using an insecticide like a celloprint is going to make your lawn less appealing. But the fastest way to get rid of a mole is like traps. That works. That's going to go really well. I mean, normally 24 to 48 hours, you're gonna get the mole if you use one of these. I think I've got one here. If you use one of these scissors traps, like these guys work really well. 24 to 48 hours. If you find an active like tunnel, active raceway, if you put one of those in there, you're going to get him in little to no time. So that's what I would really recommend. But without knowing what kind of rodent you're dealing with, I can't really help. All right, we got another super chat. This one is from Mr. Brad Greer. Thank you so much, Brad. I appreciate that.
Super chat.
Just thumbs up. I appreciate the support, sir. And then next up we have Dr. YouTube. Dr. YouTube. He says, hello, Ron. Quick question. I live in Phoenix, and it gets hot and dry in the summer. Is it okay to water daily to keep the soil from drying out? I always hear not to water daily or to promote deep roots. Yeah, I mean, ideally you want to water less frequently and deeper. However, I have had a couple of viewers out of Phoenix, and for them, if they go 2 to 3 days without watering, the lawn begins to dry up. So you can use a moisture manager like Hydrotain or Foreplay. That is going to help. But if you need to put water on the lawn every day, assuming you can stand the water bill, if that's what it takes, then so be it. Because again, you guys are kind of a unique thing in Phoenix with the amount of temperature and how long it stays hot there. I would still try and get it to 3 times a week if you can. But you'll know. What I would say is this: start out with, if you want to start with watering every day to help prevent the lawn from drying out, start with that, but then start backing it off and see if you can find the happy spot, the happy medium where you can run your irrigation cycle and the lawn still looks okay. You might find you might be able to water 5 days a week or 4 days a week, and that's enough to keep the turf looking good, so that you're not putting a ton of water on it, which is also going to save you some money. So I would play with it. I would not just be resigned to running irrigation every single day. I would play with it to see what your particular lawn likes and what it will tolerate. So hope that helps. Keep us posted as far as how it develops. But yeah, you having to water more frequently than other parts of the country is not uncommon for Arizona. All right, next up is Devin. He's in the house. He says, "What's up, Ron? I did my first app ever with the Carbon Kit. Been waiting for the past 2 seasons to finally use it. Primo went down with it. Excited to see how it works." Awesome. Keep me posted, Devin. I think you're going to like the results. And I'm not sure if you've been watching the live stream, but here soon, you're going to have a new micronutrient that you can use along with it. In the past, we used Nutrizolve was the micronutrient that we recommended, but that is no longer available, no longer going to be a thing. And in the background, for coming up on a year, I've been working with the Andersons on a replacement. So I'm not sure if you're in the live stream, but I'll show you really quick here. If you guys are new, have you already seen it? Sorry, but I'll just do it one more time to show Devin. I think he'd enjoy this. But we have a new micronutrient. This one is from, let's make sure I didn't minimize this so it'll actually show up properly. Yep. So this is one that the Andersons blended custom for us. And you can think of it as Nutrizolve 2.0. So it's got, it has all of your micros, but we also threw some fulvic acid in there to help enhance nutrient uptake. Much like the college gel fertilizers, we wanted to keep the kelp extract, the seaweed extract in it. So we did seaweed and fulvic acid, and I've been running this on my lawn at lower rates for much of last year and this year, and I really like the results. This year I've been getting comments, again, unsolicited, on YouTube and from other folks that have seen the lawn, commenting that the color looks much better. It's the best it's ever looked this year compared to years past. And that is what is different. So still using the 901C Carbon Kit, but for the micronutrient, I've been testing this. And one thing I've been going through, Devin, reason why it's taken so long to release it, is that I wanted to test it with Primo and spraying along with herbicides, with fungicides. I mean, even stuff that didn't really make sense to me, I wanted to test it to make sure there were no weird interactions. And the stuff that we carry on the golf course lawn store, it works great. Pass with flying colors. So that's going to be available here soon. And I think you will like that when you're able to add that to your program. So good stuff. I'm glad to hear you got the Carbon Kit down. Keep me posted as far as how it does. Shouldn't take very long. Should be 2-3 days. You should start seeing a response in it. You're very, very welcome, Ted. Next up, we got Brian Hall. He says, "Good evening, Ron. Brian here in Michigan. I recently sent my MySoil test, and when I get the results, I'll be reaching out to you for recommendations. Peace." Yeah, no problems at all, Brian. The MySoil test kit results are pretty easy to interpret, but if you want a second opinion or you want just bounce some ideas off of someone, feel free to email me. My email address. It's ron@golfcourselawn.com. I am going to get email now, so the past couple of days there's been some issues with email, but I've got those all sorted. So yeah, if you want to drop me a line once you get your soil test results, feel free to do so. All right, next up we have Ian Mashal says, "Can you get super sacks of leveling mix by Site 1? I don't know. You'd have to reach out to them and ask. I'm not sure on that. For leveling mix, if you're in Georgia, what I'd recommend is the Super Sod product. Like, that stuff is really good. That's what I've used on my lawn several times. High quality product. And like, the big thing is that there's no trash in it. It's a very clean sand, a really rich compost, and there's no debris. There's no trash to really clean up once you're done leveling the lawn with it. So that is what I would recommend if you're going for a leveling mix, Ian. If you want to be able to save some money on it, if you're going that route, I have a discount code that the nice folks at Supersod have given to me to give to you guys. It takes a little bit off, like $5, $10 off of whatever, any incentives or any sales that they're currently running. So in case you're interested, you can check that out. That's the stuff that I would use if you're in Georgia for leveling your lawn. All right, next up is Michael Boyle. He has recently moved to Rock Hills, South Carolina. We had Bermuda sod laid in October last year. Didn't have much time before it went dormant. It's starting to grow. What is the best fertilizer for the first year baby sod? So the way to know the best fertilizer to the answer to that is to get a soil test. That's going to tell you for sure what's the best fit for your particular soil. I can tell you what I used on my lawn to start the season off, Michael. So if we go here to the golf course lawn store and you, the third fertilizer that we carry is the Stress Sol 024. This is a higher potassium fertilizer. I did my first application of this in March to wake the lawn up. And then after using that, I actually, you know what? You can't see this because I'm still showing you the label. So yeah, so this guy here is what I used in March. And then since then, I switched to Humic Max, and I'll be using that throughout the rest of the season until the fall. If you're looking for a starter type fertilizer, so one that has a bit of everything, the second one, the Complete 14714, is a great choice. And so you got your nitrogen, your phosphorus, your potassium in it, along with micronutrient, along with a bit of humic acid and some kelp as well. So as far as like a complete feeding program, all in one bag, the Complete 14714, this one here is a great choice. But again, if you're trying to match the most accurately match what your soil needs, the way to answer that question is with a soil test result. So hope that helps, Michael, but I'll send you a link here to our section on the golf course lawn store, and you can go from there. So hopefully that helps. Congrats on the new lawn. All right, Vahid Navi's up next. He says, "Hey everyone, hope you are healthy and your lawns are well." Yeah, man. Yes to both. Pretty healthy as far as I know, and then the lawn is living its best life right now. It's doing quite well. I'm happy. With how it is doing. We got Off-Road NV here saying, best part of Friday. I appreciate that, Off-Road NV. Thank you so much. I really do appreciate that. And then next up, we have a super chat. This one is, let's see here, it's from S Flood. What's going on, S Flood?
Super chat received.
Says, hey Ron, I think I have Bermuda showing up in my centipede yard. Should I get rid of it? How would you do it? Charleston, South Carolina. Thank you for the shirts we ordered from the golf course lawn store. Yeah, no worries at all, Sean. So, I need to check. So getting rid of the other way around. If you're trying to get rid of centipede in Bermuda, that's pretty easy. You could use quinclorac for that. But to get rid of Bermuda in centipede, to get rid of centipede in Bermuda, easy. Getting rid of Bermuda in centipede, I am not sure. I don't know if that new herbicide combination that Syngenta has put together, Recognition, will do it. I know it works on St. Augustine and also Zoysia, but I'm not sure if centipede, if it's labeled for that. So I'm about to owe you an answer for this, Sean. If you don't mind, send me an email. I think you have my email address, ron@golfcourselawn.com. Shoot me an email. I'll put it up here really quick. That is my email address. And I'll do some research and I will I'll give you an answer. It's tough, man. Bermuda is really difficult to get rid of, difficult to manage. Off the top of my head, I don't know of anything, but I will I'll do some digging and I will give you I'll get back to you. So drop me an email and then I'll help you out. Again, thank you for the super chat. I really do appreciate it. And I'm glad you got some shirts. You're out there representing with the Stripe Action shirts. Awesome stuff. All right, next up we have Kenny Kadow. He says, what's up, Ron? From Southern Louisiana. Just aerated, regraded, and put down some Monaco. I have watched a few of the last live streams and enjoyed the content. Keep them coming. Is it Go Tigers or Go Tigers? How did the guy that's a coach for LSU used to say it? I can't recreate his accent, but yeah. Thanks. I'm glad that you found the content useful. I appreciate you watching. And yeah, it sounds like a fun project. You read a complete renovation, regrade, and Monaco. So once you're happy with it, if you want to share it and show folks what your lawn looks like, feel free to send us pictures and we'll show the world what you're working with in your lawn. Appreciate you watching. All right, next up is Bruce Cruise Fishing. Says, man, that looks good, Ron. Oh yeah, it's getting there, man. It's getting there. And here's the thing. It's not even fully 100% yet. Really, it's not till a few weeks from now I always say like my lawn I find looks best the first couple of weeks of June. That for me is I get like a 2 or 3 week period there, end of May into the first part of June, where I think it looks the best. So it's still not 100% yet, but compared to years past, case in point, case in point. You get those pictures. Your phone will send you a notification saying on this day this is what you were doing. So I got one of those today, being May 3rd, about my lawn, and it was raining today, and it was raining in that picture. So to show you the difference, what a difference a couple of years makes. This is the lawn in 2021, and then this is the same vantage point today. So it's pretty big difference in how the lawn looks, from 2021 to now. It's pretty big difference. Even with the rain, trying to soak it down, still looking pretty solid. So yeah, between getting the nutrient program where I want it, mowing, culture practices, and just always just trying to tweak it and make things a little bit better, I'm pretty happy with where the lawn is. I'm looking forward to seeing how it looks once we get to late May, June timeframe. We'll see. It is not peaked yet, is what I'm trying to say. There's still more to come. You are very welcome, Dr. YouTube. Sends a super chat saying, thank you for the advice.
Super chat received.
Thank you so much. You're very, very welcome. That's what I'm here for. So again, if you need anything else, don't hesitate to reach out and let me know. All right, next up we have Don Julio. Sounds like the name of a tequila. I think there's a rum. There's a rum Don Julio. I think Don Julio is a rum. Maybe I'm wrong. It says, warm season grass, don't deal with poatriv. I'm having a difficult time trying to get this out of my yard. Yeah, it is difficult. I don't, off the top of my head, I'm not sure what you would use for Poa trivialis on warm season grass. For Poa annua, certainty. But I'd have to look. I don't get questions about poatriv in warm season grass as much as I do for cool season. But I'll have to dig into that, Don, and get an answer for you. I am not sure. I don't think certainty is labeled for it. Let me, let's take a quick look here at the label and see. I don't think it is, though. I know Poa annua, but poatriv, not so much. I may have to owe you an answer after the live stream if you will drop me an email. If you'll drop me an email, I will I'll look into it and see what we can come across. Let me see. I think I actually have a section here on Poa trivialis, and yeah, I'll have to do some digging and get an answer for you. I'm Don Julio. Sorry, I don't know that one off the top of my head. So that whole sometimes I have the answer, sometimes I don't. In this case, I don't. So I'll owe you a response to that. All right, next up is Ian Mashal. He's back. He says, hey, Ron, got some Miramichi Green Pest Control from you last week. Works amazing. Love the Miramichi Green products. I think I've got all of them from you now. Thank you. You're very, very welcome, Ian. I'm glad you're getting great results for them. And the nice thing is you spray them and go on with your day. There's no watering in or anything like that. So, which is pretty cool. Pretty cool for liquids. That's not true for all liquid products. So it's definitely a nice time saver that you spray it and go on with your day. Next up is Glycan's Rule. It says, hey, Ron, thanks for your email response about controlling Poa annua and Poa triv in cool season turf grass. Because I got velocity and applied it with tenacity and a 3-way broadleaf. We'll send some pictures once I get the results. Nice, cool. So you combined it with some other herbicides. Okay. I've not heard of anyone testing it in that combo, but we'll find out, right? We'll find out once you report back with what you get. The big thing with velocity, Glycan's Rule, and I've got it in the product description. I've got it in the Q&A. It's all over the label. It's on New Farm's documentation, but you do not want to use surfactant of any kind if you're using velocity. So if you're using tenacity and some kind of 3-way, as long as you didn't use surfactant, I mean, it should be okay. We'll see. But definitely if you're using this for controlling Poa annua and Poa triv in cool season turf grass, don't use surfactant with it. No surfactant at all with velocity PM. All right, next up we got Mick Paracella, I think. It says, after killing the weeds, it leaves a brown dead spot that looks ugly. Is there anything I can put on it to help the decomposition go by faster? Not really. I mean, if you really hate it that much, you can just pull them out. Eventually, I'm not sure what kind of grass you have, Mick, but the grass should spread into that area, assuming it's like Bermuda or zoysia or some kind of a creeping grass. Uh, over time, you can certainly just remove that if you want. I mean, you can use biostimulants like kelp products, like the Miramichi, the Release Zero or 901C carbon kit will help stimulate microbial activity, which will help break down dead organic matter. But that's slow going. That's a slower process than just removing it. So, it really depends on how patient you want to be. If it were me, I would probably just either dig it out or just give it time and wait. Just give it time. It will your grass will take over that area eventually. Again, assuming we're talking about a creeping grass like Bermuda or zoysia or St. Augustine, something along those lines. So I hope that helps. Good question. That's a good one. But yeah, it's a common thing. Most people whenever I've controlled weeds in my lawn, I've just left them. I'm not really dug them out, and the grass grows over it, goes through that area, and away you go. But I guess it depends on how bad your lawn is. My lawn's never been like so horrible that the entire thing was all weeds. All right, next up we have Ian Michelle says, can't wait for the new liquid. Love that company. Yeah, nice, man. Yeah, it was really cool to be able to partner with them on this. Again, and it was not a small amount of work. Like we tried, several different formulations from sometimes dry products, a couple different liquid products, and settled on this, and it performs well. Again, I've been testing it for a while, and you guys are going to like it. You guys are gonna like it. It's a great product. All right, let's see here. Mick says, you're the only creator that I have notifications on for. Thanks for the info. I really do appreciate that, Mick. That means a lot. Thank you. I mean, there's other great creators out there too, but I'm glad that whenever I post some content that, I have earned your trust that you will, risk being bothered by YouTube saying, hey, Ron just put something new on the internet. Go check it out. So it means a lot to me. Thank you so much for that. All right, next up we got Mark Luna in the house. Mark Luna, he says, happy Friday. All great info as always, Ron. Congrats on the new product. I'll be ready to pick some up. Yeah, well, congrats to me, but congrats to all of us, right? I mean, think about it. Great products that are designed for like how we like to take care of our lawns, for, spoon feeding. They're designed for foliar uptake, meaning you spray them. No need to water it in. Just spray them and go on with your day. Was a big thing because I tried a couple different formulations. There were some other options that we had that you could spray them, but you need to water them in after application. And I really didn't want that, mainly because it's another expense. Like I have almost 12,000 square feet. I don't want to have to run irrigation after I spray, liquids on my lawn. And also with everything else, like the Release 901C carbon kit with Primo, having a fertilizer, a liquid fertilizer that works, that plays nicely with those that also relies on foliar uptake was like something that had to be that way, so definitely took some work, but I'm happy with the results, and hopefully you guys enjoy it too once you're able to get your hands on some of it. All right, next up is Dev. He says, my curiosity has been piqued with these new liquids. Well, yeah, man, I think you're gonna like it. Again, Andersons don't make bad products, so it's you're gonna enjoy it. Again, the unsolicited this year, I've gotten more responses. Go look at my shorts. People have been commenting saying, what are you doing with your lawn this year? It looks better this year color-wise than it ever has in years past. What are you doing for this time of year that makes it look like this? And the big thing is that micronutrient, that new micronutrient blend has been pretty sweet. That combined with, you got to figure, so you have Release 901C, which is a product that is designed for foliar uptake, really good at foliar uptake, and then you take a micronutrient that has fulvic acid in it to also help maximize foliar uptake. You mix those two together, and again, literally a couple days after you spray, it just pops off and looks incredible. So again, once you guys get some in your hands, you guys can report back and tell me what you guys think about it. I am very happy with it. All right, Wes Parker is up next. He says, hey, Ron, since I got my Revolution 26, I have been keeping my Tip Tough at 5/8, and it's really looking good. Can you please help me with Primo rates as well as a nozzle to use for application? Yeah, sure, Wes. First of all, congrats on the new Revolution 26. Let's first clap it up for that. We got to acknowledge that. Congrats on the new mower. And then as far as Primo for Bermuda grass, Tip Top is Bermuda. I'll tell you what I do, and I get a result that I like with it. I like to spray Primo twice per month at lower rates. So you take whatever the monthly application rate is for Primo and cut it in half, and spray that every 2 weeks. So what that works out to is if you have a 4-gallon backpack sprayer, if you're a 4-gallon backpack sprayer and you're spraying Primo over, that you can spray over 4,000 square feet, you would take, get this label off here, you would take half an ounce, so 0.5 fluid ounces, which you got right there, so half an ounce of Primo in 4 gallons of water, paired with any liquid fertilizers that you want to use. So in my case, it's the 901C carbon kit, the micronutrient that I've been testing, and then Primo, and you spray that over 4,000 square feet. You can do that every 2 weeks. As far as the spray tip, you're going to want to use a fine droplet, so follow your spray tip, and I'm going to link that here in the chat for you now, Wes. So this is the spray tip you're going to want to use whenever you're spraying Primo, liquid fertilizers, liquid most post-emergent herbicides. That's the tip you're gonna want to go with. And in case you don't have one, every guy and gal needs a good flood jet tip, but this one is for pre-emergent. So pre-emergent and soil-based soil apps. So that's the tip for that one. So you got 2 of them. The first one is for liquid fertilizer for Primo, and then the second one is for like pre-emergent fungicide, insecticide. So again, so let's say you were spraying. Let's just walk through this really quick. I'll give you, if you got a little pen and paper, you can follow it. But I've also done, I think last week whenever I was spraying my lawn, I did a short where I actually gave each one of these rates. So, but I'll repeat it here for you here really quickly. So let's say you're going to spray your lawn with Primo Max and the 901C carbon kit. You're going to do what Ron does, right? You would get your sprayer, put about 3/4 of it full with water. So just don't fill it all the way up, but make sure there's water in it. Halfway to 3/4 full is good. And then to that, you're going to take the 901C carbon kit and you're going to add a total of 12 ounces of released 901C, 12 ounces of NutriKelp, and then for BioSpectrum, 1 capsule, or if you have the actual bag of BioSpectrum, 1 tablespoon in 4 gallons of water over 4,000 square feet, right? So that's going to cover your carbon kit. For Primo, you're going to spray again half an ounce, so 0.5. Give it you here, 0.5 fluid ounces of Primo. And then for the micronutrient, once you can actually get it, you can't get it yet, you will spray that. Here's the thing: if you're using release 901C, I would just go out at 12 ounces in the 4 gallons of water. The label gives you a rate of like 6 ounces all the way up to 12 ounces. I've tested it. You do get a deeper green if you lean more towards that 6 ounce rate, but there's not a lot of difference when you're pairing it with the 901C carbon kit between 3 ounces and 6 ounces per 1,000. So to make it easy, 12 ounces of 901C, 12 ounces of NutriKelp, and 12 ounces of the micronutrient in 4 gallons of water, along with half an ounce, 0.5 fluid ounces of Primo Max. Spray that over 4,000 square feet and walk away. Let it dry and enjoy. A few days, you should start seeing a nice response in the lawn, and it should start slowing down how quickly it grows. And you do that every 2 weeks. So I hope that helps, Wes. If you have any other questions, don't hesitate to reach out to me. But that's, in a nutshell, is that's what I do on my lawn. Every 2 weeks, that's what I'm doing. All right. And as far as the spray tips, you got those covered as well. All right, next up is Brian Hall. He says, please like the live stream. Thank you so much, Brian. Yeah, we got 40 folks in here, 117 likes. If you've not hit the like button as yet, come on, please. You guys can do that. It doesn't cost anything to hit the like button. It's a free way to support the channel. Sends good vibes to YouTube, gets more people to come in and support the content. So if you've not done that as yet, I'd really appreciate it. All right, Miles Blaine is up next. He says, holy cow, super excited about new liquid options. Yeah, I mean, I am too. Miles. Again, you guys are going to like it. And again, the big thing is I could have gotten them out last year. You know, we were talking back and forth. They're saying, yeah, we can get these ready to go. We can roll with them last year. I said, I really want to have a season of testing. I want to make sure that if I'm going to put my name behind it, you know, if it's going to have Golf Course Lawn Store on it, it needs to work. It needs to work with the program that I personally do and that I teach, right? So I wanted to have a full season to really exercise it, let it do its thing. Something else I wanted to test as well, and it worked well, is how does it work over the winter, right? So by that I mean, I know that released 901C, like all the Miramichi products, if I have some left over at the end of the season and it sits in the garage over the winter, and then next year I take it out of the garage and give it a shake and go out and spray it, it's going to work just fine. The same thing is true for the micronutrients. So I had some I purposely left in the container. This is the micronutrient here. It's the light one. And this was, you can tell from the wear on it, this bottle was from last year. Actually, that's not micronutrient. This one's micronutrient. This bottle's from last year, and I took this out of the garage this season when we started up, and again, no issues at all. No separation, no kind of weirdness, because not all you guys, use up all your liquids throughout the entire season. So I want to say, hey, if someone holds on to this for more than a year, is it still going to work? And the answer is yes. It doesn't misbehave, doesn't do anything silly, which is good, because you pay good money for it, and you should get some good results, right? So, but then again, you not really to be surprised, because the Anderson simply doesn't make bad products. All right, next up is Dude. It says, hey Ron, I am planning on spraying a Celiprin, Pillar SC, and T-Nex mixed in one tank. I probably wouldn't do that, but okay, we'll continue. It says, conventional wisdom tells me to use the foliar nozzle, but shouldn't the fungicide be applied using the flood nozzle? Yeah, so Dude, what I would do is the Celiprin and Pillar SC, sure, go for it. Like those two, a flood jet nozzle would be the appropriate nozzle to use for those. But for the growth regulator you're talking about for T-Nex, I would use a foliar app. I would spray them separately, to be honest. I would not spray a Celiprin, Pillar SC, and T-Nex all at the same time. I mean, I'm sure people do it. You can do it if you want to, but if you're really trying to get the best result, I would not do that. I would spray the fungicide and insecticide. You can mix those and spray them together. That works great. There's no problem with that. And I would spray the growth regulator by itself, along with some liquid fertilizer of your choosing. 901C, great choice. But that is what I would do. I would not do that. I would not mix them all at the same time. So hope that helps, sir. Again, you can try it if you want, but I just really wouldn't. And as far as order, let me think about this. What you could do is you could spray. You could either way. You could spray like the fungicides and insecticides today, and then do primo the tomorrow, the following day. If you want to get them all done in the same day, you could do your liquid fertilizer along with growth regulator in the morning, and then spray the fungicide and insecticide in the evening, because the lawn will be plenty dry by then, and then you'll be good to go and spray those later in the day if you want to, or just separate them by a day. Either one will work. But again, I would not use the flood jet tip to spray growth regulator. Next up is Gary Freeman. He says, Ron and Strap Action Gang, happy Friday. What's going on, Gary? He says, hey, Ron, Ian Michelle is back. He says, I have warm season grass, zoysia, and mainly rye. Do you have a recommendation for a good herbicide I can use on both? Depends on what you're trying to control. I am not a fan of, are you saying there's different sections of the lawn? What you could use is some 3-ways, like I want to say Triad is labeled. It'll definitely work on your zoysia, and I believe ryegrass also tolerates it as well. Let me check the label here really quickly. I don't want to give you a bad steer. Let me check here real quick, and I will we can discover the answer to this together. But I believe ryegrass is fine. It's just really just fine fescue is where there are challenges. So yeah. Well, where is it? Yes. So yeah, ryegrass. Where? Ryegrass is on the label. So you could do rye, Bermuda, zoysia. In your case, zoysia and rye should be just fine. And it's 1.5 fluid. It again depends what you're trying to control. For the rates are different. So for cool season grass, the rate is higher. It's 1.5 ounces per 1,000, and for zoysia, you may have to go a little bit lower. So check the label. For me, just doing a quick check here, it looks like both of those are fine. It's really, I know St. Augustine and centipede you can't use it, but ryegrass and your zoysia should be okay. And again, that assumes that the weed you're trying to control it's labeled for it, right? So it really depends. If it's a broadleaf, Try does a pretty decent job. So check the label. If the weed you're trying to take care of is on there, you can save some money by having one herbicide you can use on both sites. Worst case, you can go with Celsius, which I really like, for your zoysia lawn, and then either use Triad or use something else, Tenacity or whatever, what you need for your cool season turf grass. Again, it really depends on what you're trying to control, which herbicide is the best fit. But just off the cuff here, that one, try it, is a good choice that is labeled for both of them. All right, next up we got Dude. He says, I live in Ackworth and I have Bermuda grass, by the way. Cool. Yeah, I used to be in Ackworth. I used to go fly model helicopters out there. There's a CCRC is out there. Cobb County RC is there's a field out there I used to go fly at. Anyway, but yeah, it still stands. Even though you live in Ackworth, I would not spray Primo with a flood jet tip. I would use a foliar tip. So yeah. Next up is the Dude. He says, it's a good one. He says, which would you recommend to do first, core aeration or spraying my fungicide, PGR, insecticide mix? Okay, but again, I would not spray your insecticide, fungicide. I would not spray PGR along with your fungicide and insecticide. And it doesn't really matter. I mean, if you're gonna core aerate this weekend, you could go out and core aerate and then spray the lawn with their fungicide and insecticide afterwards. That would be fine. It doesn't really matter, is what I'm trying to say. The sequencing doesn't really matter. But I mean, if it were me, if your plan was I'm going to both core aerate and spray that this weekend, I would core aerate first and then spray the fungicide and insecticide. That way you're not like walking around in a lawn, you just sprayed fungicide and insecticide on. I mean, again, I'm sure you're gonna wear your PPE, but it's still better to avoid walking around in a lawn that you just put, any kind of herbicide, fungicide, insecticide on if you can avoid it. So that would be my my advice to you, the Dude. So hope that helps. But again, I would not spray Primo with a foliar. With a flood jet tip. I really wouldn't. But if you do, let us know how it works out for you. Next up is No T. Says, let's see here. He says, hey Ron, I just got my soil test results back and I have a slightly high pH. One of your vids says to add ammonium sulfate to lower pH. How do I measure if I want to dilute for a backpack sprayer per square feet? Whatever product you go with should tell you, should have guidance on there as far as application guidance. Unless you're really sold on using an ammonium sulfate, this is a granular product that you can use to also help lower sulfur as well. No T. So I'll link this here in the chat for you. This is as a granular option for lowering your soil pH. So something else to consider. But I don't know, without looking at the product that you have, I can't tell you for sure, but that kind of information would definitely be on the label. As far as if you decide to go forward with the ammonium sulfate, most of those products on the label are gonna say like X amount, this amount of the product over 1,000 square feet. So if you're spraying that, whatever that happens to be, let's just say it's 3 ounces just for argument's sake, right? You would take 3 ounces of the product, mix it with a gallon of water, and spray that over 1,000 square feet. But again, the label is going to provide that guidance as far as how much to spray over a certain area. And then from that, you just dilute accordingly and spray it. So it shouldn't be anything special, shouldn't be any more difficult or different than any other liquid application that you're going to make on your lawn. All right, Two Trilla in Manila. He says, hey, Ron, I noticed some dollar spot in my 419. I put down a monthly country club at 3 pounds per thousand, and my first split up a Primo and the carbon kit. I had some leftover caravan that I put out, but not at full rate. Should I apply more fungicide or let the fertilizer take care of it? Yeah, so here's the thing, Two Trilla. I think you have Bermuda, and for like most Bermuda lawns that are getting enough nutrient, like dollar spot typically isn't a big problem. Like you'll see it sometimes in the morning on lawns where they'll have like little spider webs like all over the lawn early. And then, once it gets to be around 10, 11 o'clock in the morning, they burn off and nothing, they never really materialize into anything. So if you have a good nutrient program and you're not seeing any signs of disease, I would stay away from spraying a fungicide. If you do decide to apply one, Caravan is not going to work because the fungicide you need for dollar spot is propiconazole. And if memory serves me, Caravan has azoxystrobin in it. So it's not going to do anything for dollar spot. So if you want to control dollar spot, you can use either Pillar SC or Headway G, because both of those have a fungicide that is labeled to control dollar spot. So I hope that helps, sir. But again, given that you have Bermuda and you're feeding it well, it's probably going to be a non-issue. It's probably going to be it's probably not going to turn into anything is what I'm trying to say. I really wouldn't sweat it too much. But again, if you decide you want to spray something, it's going to have to be not azoxystrobin. You need propiconazole, which Headway has, or you can spray propiconazole by itself. Either one will work. But if you're looking for a fungicide, both of the ones that we carry that are dual action on the golf course lawn store will take care of that. So if you go to shop and then fungicide, insecticide, if you like liquids, go with Pillar SC. If you like granular, go with Headway G. Either one of these will work, but Caravan, not so much. So you want one of these two for dollar spot in your lawn. All right, and I think you already know where that is, Tutrilla, but why not? I'll link it in the chat for you, so you'll have it. All right, next up is Calvin Winston. He says, "Hey Ron from Marietta, my TrueCut C27 needs some small repairs. Do you have a good recommendation for repair? When is your service? Hope you get your parts soon." Yeah. So here's the thing. I used to take my TrueCut to Keystone in Duluth. I'm not sure. I don't know if they're still in business or not. You may have to check and see. And here's the thing, guys. I don't actually have my TrueCut anymore. I mean, sad news. The TrueCut is no longer with us. It's no longer with us. I don't need like 4 mowers. And but if you guys want to see it, you want to visit with it. If you guys go by Real Rollers, you guys will be able to see it there because Lee wanted one. He wanted to have a C25. He's been trying to find one for years. So Real Rollers has it. So that's where my baby is now. So it's going to be in good hands. I may go by every now and then just to visit, start it up, listen to it purr, and turn it off. But yeah, as far as repairs, Keystone is who I would say. I don't know anyone else really that I could recommend for other repairs. You can on Real Roller's website, if you check out their grinder finder tool, so they have, it's a great name. If you check that out, they will have you can throw like a zip code in and it will tell you, for example, I'll show you real quick. Yeah, so if you go to Real Roller's website, the grinder finder, and if you look in Georgia, it'll give you, several different shops in the area that will work on various mowers. So you got, Real Works, Peachtree Mowers. You got who else here? I mean, you could just look through these. Whoever happens to be near you, who can, and just ask them, hey, do you guys work on TrueCuts? And if they do, you can give them a call and get it taken care of. TrueCuts are they're a very popular mower in this area, so you shouldn't be difficult to find a shop that can work on it. The big thing is, heaven help you if you need parts. If you need parts, that's going to be a challenge. But if you just want it to be serviced, that shouldn't be too much trouble. All right, next up is CPIMS. Colin is in the house. He says, "What's up, Ron? Hope your Friday has been well." I cannot complain. Colin. Tuning in for some good turf talk. Of course, I got baseball on too. Is baseball going already? I need to get over it, man. I need to like bury the hatchet, bury the grudge. Like I kind of turned off baseball in the 90s, kind of showing my age here. Whenever they had the strike and everything, I was like, okay, I'm done. I'm done with baseball. I'm not watching it anymore. And I haven't picked it up that much. I mean, whenever the Astros won, whenever it was a couple of years ago, I watched a little bit then because my dad's a big Astros fan. So I watched then. It was kind of cool to see them win. But outside of that, I don't follow it as much. I know. And then Mark Bay says the shorts are clutch. Yeah, man. I'm glad you're finding them useful because I enjoy making them. I mean, the long form content is fun too. But a lot of the content I have a few pieces that I've got on the books to make this year. But as far as a lot of the good thing about lawn care and the bad thing about lawn care is that a lot of the topics, they're evergreen, meaning if you make a good piece of content, it can last for years because a lot of the guidance doesn't really change that much. But the shorts, I've been really having a lot of fun with that. I've been enjoying that. And because again, the idea of getting a good message in less than 60 seconds has been a lot of fun. So you guys have been watching it too. So I'll keep doing those as long as you guys will keep watching them. All right, next up is Tyler Carter. It's a good one. He says, "Hey, Ron, can you explain pre-emergent schedule for spring applications and fall applications?" Yeah, Tyler. So I like to do pre-emergent applications twice per year. In the springtime, before the average soil temp is in the mid-50s, and then in the fall, as soil temps are in the low 70s and trending cooler. So my pre-emergent of choice in the spring is either prodiamine or dithiopyr, so Dimension or Barricade, either one of those in the springtime. And then for my fall pre-emergent, because I have warm season turf grass, and the big thing I'm trying to do with a fall pre-emergent is prevent poa annua, is I use Spectacle Flow. This stuff is not cheap, but it's, in my opinion, the best stuff you can use on warm season turf grass if your goal is to keep poa annua out of it, right? So so Spectacle in the fall, prodiamine or dimension in the springtime, and I have that on the calendar on the Golf Course Lawn Store in case you're interested. So I will actually I can show you that really quick. Why not? Why not? So if you go to the Golf Course Lawn Store, you click on resources and then lawn care schedule. Item 5 in the menu is the monthly application schedule. And what you will see here is in February, which is appropriate for like Georgia, you see before the 5-day average soil temp reaches 55 degrees, apply your spring pre-emergent, prodiamine or dithiopyr, kind of like I wrote that. And then as you go down towards the fall, it says fall pre-emergent. If you got cool season grass, you can go with prodiamine. If you got warm season grass, save up your pennies and get yourself some Spectacle Flow. Your lawn will thank you for it. So September is when I like to do my fall pre-emergent app. Early September, that's worked fairly well for me. And then for spring pre-emergent, normally in the first to middle part of February is when I get my pre-emergent out. I tend to apply them a little bit earlier. That has worked well for me as far as just keeping weeds out of my lawn. So hope that helps for you. Again, you can find that guidance on the Golf Course Lawn Store, and I've got content on it, but you can check that out right here. I'll even, because I like you, Tyler, I will even send it to you here in the chat. So you can find the schedule right there, and long short of it is spring and fall produces a good result as far as keeping your lawn weed free with pre-emergent. All right, Jimmy Miller says, happy Friday, Ron. Wife had our second little one. Congrats, man. We got to clap that up. I'll drink to that. Drink lemonade. Congrats. Congrats, man. Congrats. Very awesome. Very cool. Very cool. Having a new one in the family is pretty cool. So again, congrats. Hopefully mom and baby are well. I imagine they are. Otherwise, you wouldn't be here on the live stream. But yeah, congrats. Enjoy the new baby. Next up is being Ian Mashal. He says, there's a huge difference between being long-winded and precisely communicating how to do something to someone. I love your style. I appreciate that, Ian. I mean, if you look at my earlier content, again, from like years and years ago, I used to be a bit more, I'd like to think more rambly, but now that I've been doing this for a while, I've gotten better at just conveying information using less words. That's why like even some of my best content is like most of my really good content are all under 5 minutes. Most of them are like 3 to 4 minutes. Because I script whatever I do what I consider a long form piece of content. I script it all, so I know exactly what I want to say in each every section. I decide what B-roll I want to shoot, I'll do multiple takes until I get it exactly the way I want it, and then the edit is helps it all come together. In general, whenever I'm doing a long form piece of content, if I'm going fast, it's about an hour for every minute that you guys see on YouTube. In some cases, it's a bit longer than that. Like some of the stuff that's a bit more complicated, I take longer. But an hour per minute that actually goes live is a good idea of what I spend on content. So I've gotten faster at it. Before it used to be even longer than that. But that's to give you an idea of how much work it is to produce what I consider a decent piece of content. It's not a small amount of work. Also coupled with everything else I got going on, right? So there's that. But I'm glad you find it useful. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate the feedback. It does mean a lot to me. It does mean a lot. And let's see what we got coming up here next as far as questions. Instagram, you guys are quiet tonight. You guys just lurking, just sitting here, not saying a whole lot, not being part of the conversation, being all standoffish, being antisocial. I don't know. We got to do something to try to get you guys in the conversation more. All right, next up is Mr. Jonathan Daza. He says, hey, Ron, I am planning on using Foreplay Hydrotane due to my turf-type tall fescue here in Los Angeles. I would like to use an Ortho spray and dial hose and sprayer. How much Foreplay should I use? Whatever the label says, Jonathan. So here's the trick that I tell people to use when it comes to Foreplay. I'll show you really quick here. If you go to the Golf Course Lawn Store, go to shop, and then go to moisture management, Foreplay comes, you can get it in either the quart, like the hose end sprayer, or you can get it in the gallon. So what I tell folks to do is kind of a cool hack, is the first time you use it, get like the quart, get the small one, and then if you need more, get the larger one and just keep refilling this, because that way like this is calibrated to put out the right amount of product as far as application rate goes. And that way you've got like a dedicated applicator just for foreplay. I don't know off the top of my head what setting you would set an ortho spray and dial to. Or dial and spray rather. So I can't help you with that, but I can tell you what I've told other people to do, and it makes a lot of sense when you think about it. So get like the small one and just use that as your sprayer whenever you're putting out foreplay. That way you're never gonna, you're spraying it at the right calibration, the right rate, because that is designed for that product. So hope that helps. So I'm not more useful on this, but that's what I would do. Alternatively, you could also contact Ecologel. I can look into it. I can reach out to them and find out if they have guidance as far as what setting to use with the ortho dial and spray. But you could do the same thing. You could reach out to them and say, hey, this is what I got. What do you guys recommend? And they may be able to tell you. Or they may tell you the same thing I just told you. Just get the quart that's got the Cozen sprayer that's already calibrated and just use that. They might tell you that too. But I'll look into it. All right. Jimmy Miller says, wife gave birth to a little boy, to your little boy, not my little boy. Your wife did not give birth to my little boy. Let's just get that straight. There'd be a whole different conversation if that actually took place. He says, not relaxing in, you meant our little boy is what you meant. I'm just giving you a hard time, Jimmy. He's now relaxing in the recovery room, watching the stream. Cheers, golf course lamb fam. I bet you she's right next to you. She's like, don't look what you did. You typed this wrong. And now it's on the internet. What do you do? But congrats, man. A son. I will tell you, I have, boys are, I think boys are less difficult than girls. Girls are more expensive than girls are more expensive than boys, in my opinion. Boys are, pretty easy. I mean, video games, pretty easy. Girls, there's boys, and there's other, girls are just more expensive. So if all you have is a son, I'm not sure if you have a girl too, but if all you have is a son, you don't enjoy it, because I think they're a lot simpler, in my opinion. All right. Windworth is up next. It says, hello, Ron. Will you be having any sales this season, such as for Spring Mother's Day? Don't have any planned, Windworth. Not at this point. We did a sale last year for Black Friday. But we typically don't run a lot of sales on the golf course lawn stores. It's not something that we do, because here's what happens. When I've done them in the past, people have gotten irritated with me, and they've been like, well, I bought a bunch of stuff, and a week before, and you're running a sale, and I should have, so it's just easier just to not even deal with it. So for the most part, we don't really run them. If you want to look for one, Black Friday would be around a time to do that, because it allows you to buy some products ahead of time to get stocked up for the upcoming season. That's what we did last year, and that seemed to work out pretty well. But yeah, no plans at this point. If we are going to do one, I will announce it ahead of time. But again, there's no plans at this point. So if there's something you're eyeing on the store, I really wouldn't hold out, is what I'm trying to tell you. Papa Most Low is in the house. He says, happy Friday. Lawn is popping more than ever. Aerated today and sand tomorrow. Look at you, man. Look at you. You're getting it done. So aeration and top dress. I feel you. It says, ugly seed heads are already starting. Yeah, they are a thing. Primo will help. I mean, in your case, you probably don't want to use it because you want the lawn to recover faster from the top dressing. But if you are not doing that, that is a great use for growth regulator. It does make a difference. They are still there. You still do see them, but they're not nearly as bad versus a lawn that does not have growth regulator. So just something to consider. Papa Mo's low, but again, not in your case. Keep us posted, man. Send me pictures next week as far as how the lawn turned out. You're going to be doing it tomorrow. So if you have someone snap a few pictures as far as the process, keep me posted on that, because I'd like to see how it turns out, which is really cool. Diamond says, thank you, sir. I just wanted to make sure it was safe, no damage. Just wanted to make sure I wasn't going to cause some kind of a chemical reaction. I dominate my neighbors. Very, very cool. Yeah, no worries, Diamond. I'm trying to remember what your question was, but I mean, yeah, I mean, as far as what was your question? Inquiring minds want to know now. I'm curious. What did you come in and say? Oh yeah, tenacity 24D and Diamond. Yeah, you said as far as where reactions, the way to do that really properly, Diamond, is to do a jar test. It sounds like is to take, and by jar test I mean to take a mason jar, kind of like we see here, and mix a small amount of the products you're planning on mixing together, and seeing if there's any weird or odd interactions. I don't anticipate there would be between tenacity and a three-way, but it's always good just to check it. But yeah, that's the way to, if you're not sure, that is what most labels are going to tell you. Is if you're mixing this with some adjuvant or some other product, be sure to conduct a jar test before mixing up, a big batch of this stuff that you can't use. So that is what I would recommend that you do. All right. So next up we have Jimmy Miller. He says, "Hey, Golf Course Lawn Cafe. My wife gave birth to our little boy this morning. Now we're relaxed from recovering, watching the stream. Can't miss these beginnings of the season streams." Nice, Jimmy. So you're getting, even though you had the baby, all's good. You're still supporting the content. I appreciate it. In the hospital, the nurse is going to come in and she's going to think you're crazy. By the way, it's going to be like, "Why are you watching this guy talk about grass? You don't have anything better to do?" You can be like, "Nope." All right. Following speaker is up next. It says, "Hey, Ron, El Toro Zoysia in Hawaii is struggling to thicken up and spread in clay soil. Been mowing twice a week and fertilizing my deficiencies from a soil test. Anything else to try?" If you've not really. You're mowing it, you're feeding it properly. Just a time thing is what I'd say, following speaker. The thing you have to realize is Zoysia does grow quite a bit slower than, say, Bermuda. So, it takes longer to wake up, takes longer to recover from damage. And it just takes, it's just a time thing. The name of the day of the order of the word of the day when you're dealing with Zoysia is patience. Something you might consider doing if you've not done this yet is consider core aeration. That's also a good thing to help the lawn as far as like a clay soil that might be compacted. But outside of that, it's just time. Everything else you've suggested sounds pretty good to me. You got a good nutrient program, you're mowing. Only thing I might say is a core aeration if you've not done one as yet. All right, next up is Archie Amos. He says, "From your past experiences, what conditions should be used with the stress blend?" That's a great question, Archie. So a higher potassium, so slower release nitrogen and higher potassium fertilizer, which is what the 12024 that we carry in the Golf Course Lawn Store is. It's a great fertilizer to start the season. So when the turf is transitioning from the cool temperatures of winter to spring, it's a great fertilizer to wake the lawn up with. And it's a great fertilizer to use in the fall as the lawn goes into dormancy. If you have a cool season lawn and you still want to feed your lawn during the summer, it's also good for that as well too, because the higher potassium helps the cool season turf grass, which tends to struggle in the summer, to better tolerate that stress. So I'd say for cool season lawn, the beginning of the season, summer, and fall. For warm season lawns, really just the ends. The beginning of the season and the end of the season is when I would use a fertilizer like that. So hope that helps. And that's, you've seen how my lawn has responded to it. That's what I use, the 12024. This guy, shop and lawn fertilizer. This guy here is the first granular fertilizer I applied on my lawn this season. From the amount of slow release nitrogen, even though it's 12%, this has more slow release, meaning a higher percentage of it is slow release nitrogen compared to something like Humic Max, which, if memory serves me, is it's 65% quick release or fast release nitrogen and 35% slow. Whereas the stress is like the opposite of that. It's primarily slower release nitrogen, which again is what you want when the lawn is coming out of dormancy. And also if you're feeding a cool season lawn during the summer months, and you're not trying to push a lot of growth, it's a good fertilizer for that purpose as well. So hope that helps, Archie. Great question. And get some stress blend in your life, man. It is good stuff. I do like it, at least for the beginning, the bookends of the season anyway. Okay, next up is Sunset Bay Golf. It says, "I just applied complete on all of our 12 greens." Nice, very, very cool. Keep me posted as far as how it does. I'm looking forward to hearing that. So you applied the complete 14714. Very cool. Keep me posted. Send me pictures too if you got pictures of it. My email address is ron@golfcourselawn.com. I'll actually get it now if you email me. And I will, I'd like to see what you're working with as far as the greens. You have to send me pictures of every single one, but just find like the one you're most proud of and say like, "Hey, look, see this green powered by complete 14714 and love." That would be pretty awesome. All right, next up is T-Mac. He says, "Hey, Ron, I've been trying to find a grass that grows in my shady, mossy backyard." So shady and mossy. "I live in Stone Mountain, Georgia. I have Bermuda in the front and some zoysia, kind of patchy, in the back." Yeah, so if the zoysia is not doing well in the back, you may have to go to a fescue T-Mac, because Bermuda and shade absolutely is a no-go. Zoysia is a little bit better when it comes to shade, but it sounds like based on what you're describing that you have enough shade that even Zoysia isn't going to do well. So that's where you would go to like a fescue. Of the fescues, like fine fescue, from what I understand, is among the most shade tolerant of those types of cool season grasses. So you could try that, and that if it doesn't grow there, then you may have to just look at doing something else to that area. But a fescue should perform well there if zoysia is already growing, just not that great. So hope that helps, sir. Fescue would be the thing that I would try next if you still want to have grass in the back lawn in an area that is heavily shaded. Now, something to keep in mind too is you said that you've got a moss issue. Couple things I would consider doing a soil test of the back lawn just to make sure there's nothing weird going on there, like as far as like your pH is not like overly acidic. And then second, um, if as far as drainage is really important because if you have a lawn where you've got that's heavily shaded, if you get heavy rainfall and then the water sits on the lawn for a while because the sun's not hitting it to help dry it out, that's going to cause any grass to struggle. So even if you can get fescue to grow there, you may start having you might trade one problem where the zoysia being patchy for like disease issues if you can't even get fescue to go in there. So something to consider as you're going through this renovation is do something about the drainage. You know what I mean? So assuming that water settles there or doesn't drain quickly, that's something that I would work to correct because you're going to have problems with any grass if the soil stays waterlogged for extended periods of time. So hope that helps, T-Mac. That's what I recommend. It's funny. I have a couple of people that message me from the email or reach out to me from Stone Mountain there's a guy in Stone Mountain that has a fescue lawn, which is kind of interesting. So yeah, kind of cool. I guess you guys must have a lot of shade in that part of Georgia because I have Stone Mountain, and then also if you go to like some of the older neighborhoods in Atlanta, like in like Vinings or some of them in Midtown, Buckhead, like some of the older parts, like the old money parts of Atlanta. You'll see like big trees, and in those areas they tend to have fescue lawns instead of Bermuda due to the shade. Okay, next up we have Papa Mo's Low. And actually, I already answered your question. And then we have a question that says, "Is it too late to kill off weeds in a zoysia lawn?" It's not. It's not too late to kill off weeds in a zoysia lawn. I'm not putting your name up because of the way what you've got spelled. So if you want to have like your comment show up on the live stream, you're gonna have to change it. But your question as far as is it too late to kill off weeds in a zoysia lawn? No, it's not too late at all. The big thing when it comes to controlling weeds is if the weed that you're targeting is actively growing, then you're good to spray herbicides to try to control it, right? So yeah, the weed you're dealing with like this time of year, spurge is probably going to start up. Poannu is dying off, but yeah, if the weed that you're trying to target is actively growing, then the answer is yes, you can control it in your zoysia lawn. All right, next up is Ape Roll. Says, "Hey Ron, is there an app you recommend that will identify the type of grass I have if I take a picture of it?" Yeah, so you could use, I think it's called Picture This. You can use that app that'll tell you. You can also take a picture of it and then go to Google image search. So if you go to images.google.com, that does a pretty good job of telling you hey, you've got fescue or rye or one of those. So between those two, that will help you out as well as far as determining what kind of grass you got going on. You might also just ask someone in your area. You didn't tell me what part of the country you're in, but likely the kind of grass you have on your lawn, your neighbor has on their lawn, or the guy across the street has on their lawn. So one of them probably knows. So you could just ask them if you want. But yeah, the Google image search is actually pretty good for determining, identifying plants and weeds and grass types. But there's also I think it's called Picture This is the name of the app. I think that's what it's called. All right. Next up, we got Tank Texas says, "I finally made it to the live. Look at you. You made it. You're here, live and direct. Thanks for coming to take some time out of your Friday to hang out. And as you says, click the like button, everybody. I appreciate that. It's a free way to support the channel. So if you've not done that, hit the like button. And then next up, we have Kelly Ducey says, "Hey Ron, soil temp in, I guess, Northwest." You guys, here's the thing, you guys with all the acronyms, I'm guessing that means Northwest Ohio. I think, maybe, I'm guessing. Is around 64 degrees. I put down prodiamine 210. I won't be home until next Wednesday. Will I be too late for a second pre-emergent app? So you said you did it on February 10th, and you'd like to do a second one now. It's no, you should be okay. You should be all right, Kelly. That should be fine. If this is your second of 2 apps, you're doing split apps, should be just fine. I wouldn't sweat it. Yeah, it sounds that for your second app, that would be okay. If this is the only app you're doing for the season, you're a bit late in my opinion, but yeah, if it's your second app, you should be okay. We got Xavier in the live stream. What's going on, Xavier? Xavier 19, what's going on, dude? Glad, I haven't seen you in a while, so glad to see you're live and kicking and doing well. So thanks for coming by to say hey. I appreciate you. And then next up we have Jake Pierre-Lee. He says, Ron, I got to send you some pics via email. I applied PGR as you recommended a couple weeks ago. The rate for common is higher than 419. I burned my common. Maybe I have 419. Maybe, yeah. Maybe what you think is common is 419. Could be, but even for common, which I know the rate for Primo is like 0.75, I think, ounces per thousand per month. But even then, you know, it's not going to hurt anything to go to apply Primo at a lower rate to start. Like even for your first app, you really don't want to slam the lawn with the full rate if you can avoid it, because we can cause tip burn, you cause damage, you can cause injury, and there's no issue with literally if you're going to be spraying it every couple of weeks. Start out at the hybrid rate, and then you can slowly ramp it up, and you can see how the grass tolerates it if you think you have hybrid. The nice thing is that, or you think you have common. The nice thing is the grass will grow through it. It'll be just fine. I mean, I wouldn't sweat it. If you want to send me an email so I can take a look at it, it's ron@golfcourselawn.com, which is right there. You send me an email to that address. I'll take a look and let you know what I think. But it's worst case, it's like a 3 to 4 week problem, So unless you went like crazy heavy-handed with it, it shouldn't take that long for it to respond. Like I've had viewers that have emailed me and said, "Hey man, I applied Primo or applied T-Nex at like 10 times the application rate, the proper rate," and I'm like, "Oh, that's not good." And it does make a mess of the lawn for several weeks. If it's really extreme, it could be a month, 6 weeks, but the lawn does recover from it. So this is going to be a time thing depending on how heavy-handed you went. Brad says, thanks for the reply. You are very welcome. No problem. And next we got Oliver Rittim, R6 Type 0 or Type O in the house. He says, happy Friday, Ron. I think I should have started my season with a complete instead of stress. Soil test says all NPK were low. I'll be using the 14714 later this month, but the lawn has been taking off slow. Yeah, no worries, Oliver. I mean, I know you're a little bit further north. I think you're Texas, Oklahoma area. So yeah, I mean, it could be taking off a little bit slower, but some of that is, remember, you're also a little bit further north than I am in Georgia. So you're probably not too far behind as much as you might think. But yeah, if you're based on your soil test results, if everything is low, the 14714 is a better fit than like 12024 or even Humic Max. So yeah, you can adjust accordingly and go from there. Sunset Golf says, hey Ron, will 2 inches of rain now wipe out my complete dressing? Are you talking about like your fertilizer app? No, it'll be fine. No. I mean, the complete 14714, if you guys want to see, so this is, we can do fertilizer show and tell. So this is the standard prill size that you'll find in most fertilizers. It's like a 210 SGN that you'll find. This is like most online fertilizers are this size. Fertilizers you'll find at the big box store, that's the size of the prill. In comparison, this is the prill size of Humic Max. This is 150, so 210, 150, which helps it get past the canopy, get in the soil faster. And then what you applied was the 14714. This is Humic Max, which is a 150. This is the greens grade, which is an 80. So it's almost like a powder. It's very fine. So literally, as far as runoff or washout, it's practically going to be non-existent. Because I mean, you're talking about something that like literally gets past the canopy into the soil very quickly. 2 inches of rain is nothing to worry about. So I really wouldn't be concerned. I mean, even if you apply like a 210 SGN fertilizer, I still wouldn't be concerned with 2 inches of rainfall. But with the complete 14714, definitely not. I mean, that stuff's not going anywhere once you put it down. All right. Next up, we have from Alex Ristano. I got it. Stain, like staining your patio with iron. Stain. Alex Ristano. See, I can learn. is how should you take soil testing during the season while applying fertilizers? Great question, Alex. So if you're going to take a soil test during the season when you're feeding the lawn, you want there to be 4 weeks between the last granular input and when you're pulling cores to send the soil test results in. So for example, if you fertilize the beginning of May, say this weekend you're fertilizing your lawn, you would wait until the first week of June before you would pull cores to send those results in to get them analyzed. Because if you take samples like right after fertilizer app, that likely will skew the results. You won't get good data. So you want good 4 weeks between the last time you fertilized and from the time you pull cores. So good question. I like it. That's a good one. Thank you, Alex, for telling me how to pronounce your name properly. Because I was butchering it up, man. I was calling like Alex Ristano. I was all over the place. So I was making it. I was trying to put more sauce on your name than actually needed. It's not difficult to pronounce. It's Alex Ristano. That's not tough, but not me. I had to say, yeah, he's got to be something exotic. Got to be something more interesting than just that. He can't be basic like Ristano, but not that I'm calling your name basic. I'm just saying I thought it was more involved than that. Okay. Michael Kuhn says, I'm sorry. Yes, it's moles or voles digging through the yard. Oh yeah. So for moles, you want this. You want the Judge. You want one of these guys. Or actually, you can get these. They come in. You get a single one, but you get these in 2s. And this will make quick work of moles in your lawn. Quick work. Like literally, the hardest part about this is identifying an active tunnel that they're using. And what I would say is, as far as tips for using it, wear gloves. You don't want to transfer your scent to at least to the bottom part. If you want to touch up here is okay, but you really don't want to transfer your scent to the scissors, the parts that go into the soil. So I wear like rubber gloves whenever I'm handling this. But then yeah, stick it right down in the raceway, set the trap, and then wait. And normally within 24 hours, no more than 2 days, typically, you'll get some click action. You'll see it go click, and that will be the end of your mole, because moles tend to be active like early in the morning or in the evening time. So that is what I would use. Let me get you a link to where you can find that, because you're probably saying, yeah, where do I find it? That's kind of useful, but not really useful. So I've done the whole Caddyshack. I've done the whole Caddyshack thing. I've done the smoke bombs, trying to smoke them out. I've done water. Water works, like flooding it out worked for the first time, but the second time that didn't work so well. But the thing that works consistently are the scissors traps. So this right here, look at that. You can get a 2-pack for like $40. It's not even going to break the bank. So I'll send you a link to that here, Michael. And that's what I would use. Because the thing is, they will absolutely, left to their own devices, they will absolutely destroy a lawn really quickly. So this is what I would use to get rid of them. All right. Next says Dwayne Smith says Scott's Grub-X will give you long-lasting grub control. All right. Well, there you go. That's an option for it as well. I'm not sure what the active ingredient is in Grub-X. I prefer a Celiprin. The active ingredient in the Celiprin is chlorotraniliprole. It was funny. Like whenever I did the video for that years ago with when Syngenta sent me something, they were looking for like a YouTuber to make some content on a Celiprin. I literally, when I was scripting that video, literally I said it. I was having nightmares about that word because it was so difficult to say. And I actually recorded it and sent it to the rep that I was working with and says, "Am I saying this right?" They said, "Yeah, that's right. Chlorantraniliprole. Chlorantraniliprole is how you pronounce it." But that's the active ingredient that's in a Celiprin. I don't know what's in Grub-X, but if it works for you, it's doing the job, stick with it. If you like what the results you're getting, go with it. And next up, we see Ian Michal says, "Yeah, I want to see that so bad. It looks amazing." I'm not sure. Are you talking about the fertilizer, Ian? Yeah, I'm not sure, man. Soon. Again, three weeks. The goal is by the end of this month. We'll see. Hopefully I didn't jinx it by telling you guys that. And Kenny Cadell says it's good tigers. So there's no, I can't do the Creole accent, man. I can't do the Creole accent. But yeah, I mean, it's not, why can't you just go with go dogs? That's way easier. I mean, here's the thing. How show you do it? You put the right hand in the air, you say, go dogs. A little pause. That's it. You can good form. Not like this, Go dogs. Go dogs. Go dogs. It's easier than go tigers, but I guess. Next up is Cooking with Connor. It says, "Hey, Ron, maybe a dumb question. No such thing. says, but what time of year should you aerate? Apply fertilizer and grass and top dress to achieve that golf course lawn. Okay, so all of those things, as far as application time goes, like whenever the most correct answer is whenever the grass is actively growing. So if you want to aerate, the time of year to do it would be now. Apply fertilizer now. Like I started feeding my lawn in March. Grass seed, unless you've got a cool season lawn, I really don't recommend using grass seed to help thicken a lawn up. So for warm season turf grass like Bermuda and Zoysia, really best to stay away from grass seed. And then top dressing now. So if the lawn is actively growing, meaning you're out there mowing it, you can top dress it. It will grow through that. And then the thing that's left is just mowing. That's what's really going to help with that. So your nutrient program and then regular mowing is what's going to help produce a look like this. And you have to do those things consistently. So if that's what you're after, after a look like that, just realize it is a lot of work. You have to enjoy mowing grass, which I do. I mean, even with my lawn under regulation now, Connor, something that you can, another tool you could use is Primo Max. I could get away this time of year with mowing my lawn like twice a week, once every 4 days, once every 3 or 4 days. I still mow it like every other day, every 2 days at the most, because I just enjoy mowing grass because I'm crazy like that. But yeah, I just want my best thinking when I'm mowing. So that's the thing I would say. At a high level, what you've got there is good, right? Aeration, yes, good. A fertilizer, of course. Grass seed, if necessary, but most people don't really need it. Especially if you got a warm season lawn, cool season lawn. Especially if you have a warm season lawn, you don't need to use grass seed. Eating my words here. And then top dressing, yes. The big thing with top dressing is, yes, it does help produce that nice smooth table look. But the biggest benefit, and I always say this, the biggest benefit I got when I top dress my lawn that most people don't top dress their lawn for is drainage. So if your lawn had issues with standing water, you put some sand down on it, man, it just pulls water away from the surface so much better. And outside of that, it's just mowing it. And the mower does matter. So if you're trying to get that type of a look like this, a look like that, you're gonna have to use a real mower. You're not gonna get a lawn. You're not gonna be able to cut at 5/8, 3/4 of an inch consistently with a rotary mower and produce a tight look like that without causing any kind of injury. You can see there's no scalping, there's no damage in the lawn. Like that picture is like only a few hours old. Let's look at that picture today. That look is produced, or that the ability to cut the grass at that lower cutting height without causing injury once you've top dressed is going to require a real mower. So that's the one thing you didn't mention is the mower, but that's a big part of it. That's a big part of it. Everything else you talked about is excellent, but again, the mower does make an appreciable difference in getting that golf course lawn look. As I point out here, right? So when you want to get a great looking lawn, take your lawn from 0 to hero. Get rid of weeds, do a soil test, fertilize your lawn, mow, and mow some more. And when you think you've mowed enough, mow one more again, and you can't help but get a great looking lawn. So if you do these things and then you couple it with regular mowing with sharp equipment, it's practically impossible to not have a great looking lawn. Even if you try, it's still going to look good. Next up is Ian. He says, will you be taking a field trip to the Andersons? It'd be really cool to see how they change the formulations from one product to another on the line. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I talk to them and see if they'd let me come out there and do it. I will tell you, they're fast. They're really fast. Like whenever I would send feedback and I say, can we add a little bit more of this or change something? I mean, they don't take them long. I mean, they've got, I guess they're a huge company. They do, they support big ag. So I mean, when I say, can we add fulvic acid to this? It's like, okay, yeah, no problem. They go through, they make the change. And then another bottle shows up in the mail a few days later and I try it out and, test it for a while and give them feedback. So as far as like iterations, they're very fast to do that type of stuff. So, which you would expect. I mean, they're a huge company and, making fertilizer for our lawns is easy mode compared to the stuff I'm sure they have to contend with. So, but yeah, that's a cool point. I've done one of those for Miramichi Green, like how it's made, and doing one for the Andersons could be a thing. I have to see. I think they're in Ohio. I have to find out. I think they're in Ohio. So yeah, I'll see. I'll have to reach out to my contact there and see how they think about that. They'll be like, no, we have too many secrets here. There's no cameras. You shall not pass. Probably what they'll tell me. Or they might say, yeah, come on. We like free content. Why not? Come on up. We'll see. It's good. It's a good idea. It's a good idea, Ian. We'll see. All right. Next up is Jake Pierre Lee says, Ron, as a fellow content creator, I got to ask, are you running Mac or PC custom built. I am a Mac user. No, I don't use Windows. I don't like Windows. Here's why. So many moons ago, you can still hear about it now, but there's an operating system that has gotten a lot better in recent years than it was when I was using it, called Linux, right? So as far as like my background of what I probably spent the most time running is, I used to run Linux from like the mid 90s up until 2007. So before Linux was cool, I was running it. This is when you had to, build your kernel. Whenever you, heaven help you, whenever you did an update, something was going to break. So the best compromise I found between Windows and a Unix operating system, or the Unix type operating system, is Mac OS X, because underneath it's based on BSD, or at least most of the time, I think it still is BSD. So you've got a shell, which I need for a lot of the stuff that I do, and it's not Windows, so which I prefer not to run, because in my other line of work, I used to do in years past, I used to do penetration testing, which is a fancy word for an ethical hacker. So I would get paid to break into environments. So companies would pay me and say, "Hey, listen, we want you to find the problems in this piece of software, or in this, in this new web portal, this new web app we built, before the bad guys find it." So that's the kind of thing I would do. And as far as exploitation, Windows is exploited far more than OS 10 is, or than OS X is. I mean, it's gotten, OS X is getting more and more now, but Windows, as far as just from, because it's just so prolific, like bad guys put a lot more time into finding vulnerabilities and into bypassing the protections, the operating system protections in Windows, than they do in Mac and Apple operating systems. So for that reason, in 2007, that's what made me switch to OS to Mac. And I've just stuck with it ever since, because it's like the best of both worlds. Like I can do updates and stuff doesn't break, which is kind of cool, right? And then as far as becoming a content creator, like using Final Cut and for media creation, it's really hard to beat OS 10 or OS, whatever they're calling it now. I think it's just called OS X now. But yeah, I'm an Apple guy. I've been one since 2007, so coming up on 20 years. And yeah, I love them. Hardware's great. I mean, it's not cheap, but I mean, I'll tell you, I've not had one break on me. Like literally, I get rid of a computer when it doesn't run the software that I want anymore, or when it gets too old. I want to like use the newest operating system that's not supported, or I want to render like content faster. I buy a new one. But as far as like having failed on me, I mean, knock on wood, it's never happened. Versus when I ran like PCs, or whenever we had to run like Windows VMs for work, like Windows just tends to get like cluttered up and junky over the course of like years, and you have to rebuild it every year, every 18 months if you want to keep it running good. Whereas Mac, this machine runs as good now as the day when I first like loaded it up. So, all right, back to grass. But yes, I'd say I'm a Unix person by heart, based on my background in pen testing and like system exploitation. And Mac OS 10 is a good like middle ground. And Windows, I would never run it, because I'm too afraid of it. I've done too many bad things to Windows systems over the years to want to run Windows as my main operating system. It'd be like karma. Eventually, I'd get popped. So I don't run Windows. All right, next up is Trilla. He says, "I am down to my last 3 ounces of carbon kit. This is sad. I was being lazy and missed out on the last wave of Turfplex just for you to announce the new product and talk about perfect timing. Also, congrats." Yeah, man, thanks. I appreciate it. But yeah, it really is going to be closer towards the end of this month when you can look for it. But here soon, it will be on the store, and you can just click on the notify me whenever it's in stock or when it's available. So that way, as soon as I set it live, you guys will get emails, and then you can come and pick it up and be good to go. We're running a pretty good volume of it, so it should be enough for everyone to get some. But I'm assuming I'm like estimating well, but we'll see. And as far as sizes, one thing I didn't talk about, it's going to be available in a 1 gallon and a 2.5 gallon. Those are the two sizes that both the micronutrient and the fertilizer are going to come in. So it's a 1 gallon and a 2.5 gallon. So got a bigger lawn, 2.5 gallon. All right. Next up, we have Loke 8032 says, "Is it better to use granular or liquid?" Both. It depends. It depends what you're after. It's not an easy question to answer. Granular products tend to be easier to apply for most people. Like so someone that's new to lawn care, a granular product is easier. You just set the spreader, add the product to the hopper, and you apply it. So for most people, granular products are less intimidating. Uh, in most cases, the cost per application for granular products tends to be more expensive than for liquid. So if cost is a factor, or what you pay per application, it matters to you, then liquids are usually a much better deal than granular products. If we're talking about fertilizer, it's not really, in my opinion, an either or. So what I do on my lawn for feeding it is what I call spoon feeding. I make it up, but says that's what it's called. So I use a combination of granular and liquids to feed my lawn. And what I do is at the beginning of each month, I apply a granular fertilizer at low rates. So about half a pound of nitrogen, or about 2/3 of the nitrogen my lawn needs for the course of that month, comes from a granular fertilizer. And then I spray a liquid combination. So I spray like a stack that consists of a micronutrient, some liquid fertilizers like 901C, a kelp product, and growth regulator every 2 weeks. I'm going to be spraying growth regulator anyway every 2 weeks. So spraying the liquid fertilizer isn't that big of a deal. It's not any more work because I'm going to be out there anyway. So I personally feel you get the best result, because I've done it both ways. I feel you get the best result when you take that approach. Use granular for a lot of the heavy lifting. We're talking about fertilizer anyway, and then back that up with liquid foliar apps every 2 weeks at low rates. Again, that's a perfect example. If you want to see the difference between my lawn in 2021, when I wasn't really doing spoon feeding as religiously as I do now, if the biggest difference, just from like an appearance standpoint, if you look at this picture was taken today, 3 years ago, which again, lawn looks pretty good, colors is nice. And then if this is the lawn, the same lawn today, and you can see the difference in color and appearance. So again, it is more work. You could argue that the cost is more, but again, you're not the results you get, in my opinion, are so much better that it's worthwhile doing. So it really depends on you. Like if you take like an insecticide, like a celiprin, you can get that in both liquid or granular. So it's really your decision. I prefer liquid more so than the granular celiprin, because it's easier to adjust the rates. If you're going to spray something else with it, you can add it to the tank and spray it at the same time. So liquids, the biggest difference I'd say for you, Luke, to kind of put a bow on this, is liquid products provide more flexibility and easier control over rates. So if you're trying to adjust the application rate, it is much easier to do that with liquids than it is with granular. And if you're trying to save time by spraying multiple products at the same time, you can do that with liquids. You can't really easily do that with granular. Meaning, if you have, like, say I'm applying like Humic Max, and I wanted to also apply like Essential G. So I want to apply like a granular biostimulant and Humic Max at the same time. You can't put them both in the hopper at the same time and apply them at the same time, because the settings are different. So you have to walk the lawn with the granular biostimulant and then walk the lawn with the granular fertilizer. So it's, what I'm saying, it's more work. It takes more time to do a granular only program, whereas liquids, you can mix it all up and spray it all at once and get on with your day. So I would encourage you to do both. Liquids really aren't hard, and they open up a world of options for you. There's a lot of, even for like say herbicides. Let's say you're trying to control weeds in your lawn. There are far better options for controlling weeds using liquid products, or products that get turned into liquids, like you have something like Celsius, that's like a dry granule, but then you add this to water and you spray it as a liquid. You have a lot more options going with liquids than you do with granular. So for that reason, I would do both. I would not choose either or. Long-winded answer, but hopefully it gives you my thoughts as why really it's not either or. Really, both of them make a lot of sense. Glycan's Rule says, sorry for the clarification. I didn't apply velocity, tenacity, and three-way together. I did separate applications, and I have some other weeds along with the POA. Okay, that makes sense. Okay, I got you. So I was thinking you mix them all together. I don't know about that, man. But okay, so separate apps. Okay, sounds like a plan. Keep me posted as far as how it does, man. Definitely email me and let me know. All right, next up is Will Ward. He says, my grass is about 90% green. Should I start PGR? Will it slow down dormant grass from growing? You can, 90% green is fairly greened up. What I would say is this, Will, how often are you mowing this time of year? If you're mowing a couple of times per week, and you've got it's producing you're getting a pretty good amount of clippings off the lawn every time you mow it, then yeah, you can use growth regulator. I mean, it's not like using Primo is going to prevent the lawn from coming out of dormancy. It's not going to do that. But I would want you to be mowing the lawn regularly before you introduce growth regulator. So that's probably a better question. With 90% green up, yeah, you should already be feeding it, should be fertilizing it. And if you're mowing it a couple times per week and it's producing, a fair amount of clippings, then yes, using Primo would be just fine. All right, next up we got Quincy Cordoba. Actually, I'm gonna save that one. That was a good question, Will. Someone else is probably gonna have that. Quincy Cordoba is up next, and his question is, hey Ron, is it acceptable to use a methylated seed oil as a surfactant in place of a non-ionic surfactant, or will it significantly damage the desired grass? Thanks. It depends on what herbicide you're spraying. Like, I find that MSOs, like methylated seed oils, can make herbicides behave a bit more aggressively than non-ionic surfactant. A good example is if you're spraying like quinclorac, the label for that will often recommend using an MSO when you're trying to control crabgrass, because the effect that an MSO has of being able to strip away the waxy layer that tends to be on crabgrass that can I don't say hinder, but makes herbicides not work as well. An MSO is better for that, but I wouldn't use an MSO across the board for everything. You know what I mean? So unless the herbicide actually calls for it, or there's some guidance on the label recommending that, then I wouldn't. And quinclorac is one that comes to mind where a mention of an MSO is made whenever you're trying to control crabgrass. But you can also use surfactant. You can use like a regular anionic surfactant with quinclorac, and that'll work well too. But an MSO does make it a little bit more aggressive. So yeah, I would not do so, Quincy, unless the herbicide label calls for it. All right, next up is Brad Haas is up, coming in from Facebook. He says, Ron, what's up, man? Not too much, Brad. Living my best life, man. Living the dream. Because it's Brad from Panama City Beach. I appreciate all your help. I just got the carbon kit today. Nice. I like that. Pumped for the transformation soon. Nice. Very cool, man. Keep me posted as far as how it does. Very, very, very cool. Good choice on liquid fertilizer and biostimulants. Okay, next up we got Gary Kellett Jr. Gary Kellett Jr. And says, happy Friday, Ron. Went to my local site one today, talked to the Yoda of lawn care about some POA in my yard, told me to grab a 16-ounce bottle of Tenacity, sold it to me for $50. Yeah, so POA, Tenacity is not really going to do much for POA that's already in your lawn. So it's if you read the label, like it'll say it will help suppress, but as far as like controlling POA annua that's currently in your lawn, it's not going to do a whole lot for you. It's not really a post-emergent that's going to do a good job controlling POA annua. If you want to try it, by all means go ahead, but it's not going to do a whole lot against POA that's already in your lawn. So you may have gotten a deal. Tenacity in a 16-ounce bottle. Because I thought it came in 8 ounces. Anyway, at any rate, if you're trying to use Tenacity to control POA, you're probably going to be disappointed with the results. Again, if you want to give it a shot, by all means, but check the label. You'll see that it gives guidance about suppression, not so more about post-emergent control. All right, next up we got Quincy Cordoba. He says, let's see here. It's officially grass season. All the big boy weeds in the south are emerging. Goosegrass, timberbitter, Dallas grass is going to seed. Burnweed, nutsedge. Yeah, man, it is that time. Get your pre-emergent out. It'll help with some of that, but yeah, 'tis the time. Next up we have KT Patriots. It says, can I apply Hydrotane ES plus it's like the concentrate with my fungicide in the tank? Obviously, I'll water it in. I don't know, KT. I've never done that. First of all, I don't use the liquid Hydrotane. I use granular. So I don't know about mixing fungicide with it. I would I'd say either you have to reach out to College L and ask them, or do a do a jar test, do a test to make sure that the two, like the fungicide you're using and the hydrotane, mix nicely together and there's no weird interactions. If there's not, you're likely going to be okay. I would think, but again, to confirm, check with the manufacturer and make sure there's nothing that using mixing fungicide with it is going to cause a problem. I kind of doubt it. The thing to keep in mind too as well, whenever you apply hydrotane, is you already know, but watering it in right after application is really important for getting a good result when you're using the liquid. So don't like water it and then wait 2 or 3 days. Like after you're done putting it down, water right afterwards. So hope that helps. Let's see here. BRD, a bird of prey, says, it says, it hasn't rained in months. Is watering every day okay? Typically watering every day, unless you're somewhere where it's really hot, like Arizona, is not usually necessary. You should normally can get by with watering 2 to 3 times per week. So water less frequently, but heavier. And that tends to work better than watering like, every single day. But again, you didn't tell me what part of the country you're in. You might be in Arizona, in which case some folks in Arizona water every day. But if not, I would say 2 to 3 times per week, heavier for longer cycles is better than watering every single day if you can. So next up, you have Jason Harrison. Jason Harrison is here. He says, the Miramichi tree and shrub. I'm looking at the label and it says every 1 to 3 months for a foliar app. How heavy of a foliar app do you recommend? Normal spray or a more dripping style? I would just do a foliar app using the like a foliar spray tip, like what you would do with any of the other fertilizers. So that product is kind of cool in the sense that you can apply it as a foliar, like what you're talking about doing, or you can also do it as a drench. So you can, I forget how much it takes, but you can get like a 5-gallon bucket with a lot of water in it, add the appropriate amount of product, and then like around the bulb of the tree, around the base of the root, you can actually pour that around there. And that's another way to use that product as well. But as far as foliar goes, I would spray it the same way you spray Primo or herbicides. I mean, heavy enough that you coat, but not so much to the point of runoff is what I would do. Although with this product, it doesn't really matter. But again, for a foliar app, I would just spray it the way you spray any other foliar app. All right, next up is no. And you know what, Jason? You know what? That's a good question. And because it's a great question about tree and shrub, and I don't think I've been asked that one before, if you want, and I don't know what I did with it. Where's my shirt? I don't know where the shirt went. I think you, sir, will be our Miramichi question of the week. I don't have the shirt nearby. Actually, I can go grab one here. I can show you here in a baggie what it looks like. So you will be our Miramichi question of the week. And if you'd like to win one of the Greatness from the Ground Up shirts, I can actually open it here and show you here. If you'd like to win one of these guys, not this one, obviously, because I'm opening it up. But if you'd like to win one of these, then let me know. Send me an email, ron@golfcourselawn.com, and I will tell you where you can claim one of these. You can spray your Nutri-Tree and shrub in style, because it's part of it. It's all part of it, right? It's not only winning in lawn care, but looking good while you do it. That's important, right? You want to make sure you got the right accoutrement, and a quality t-shirt, can't beat it. So send me an email, ron@golfcourselawn.com. I think you already have my email address. Actually, I know you do. So just send me an email and say, hey, Ron, I won that shirt. How do I get it? And I will, I'll tell you how you can pick one up. So thanks for the question. It's a good one. And if you need anything else, let me know. Next up, we have No T says, hey, Ron. Thanks, Ron. I bought the Greenway 2000 ammonium sulfate as you had on your video. Bought the carbon kit from your store as the soil test said to add micros. Label on the product says 5 pounds per 1,000 square feet, but I wanted to spray all of it. I would spray it. I would spray what the label says. If the label says 5 pounds per 1,000, I would do that. I would not spray all of it unless all of it is 5 pounds and you're only spraying 1,000 square feet. If that makes, assuming I'm understanding what you're saying properly. If the label gives you guidance, I would do what the label says. Is what I'm trying to say. I would not. Bad things tend to happen when you tend to go way off script. If you go a little bit off script with like fertilizer, you're going up or down on the rates, not a big deal. Primo, you pretty much want to stick to the label. When it comes to like fertilizer, especially granular, you really want to stay pretty close to the label. You don't want to go, you don't want to go too much off script when it comes to that. So, if the label gives guidance, I would follow that if it were me, especially if it's the first time you're using it. Now, if you want to spray that and then you want to adjust a small amount, 5%, 10%, after you've done it per the label guidance, then that might be okay. But I don't want to, I wouldn't say first time we're just going to YOLO it and just see what I would not do that. Don't have to write me an email saying, hey man, I used the entire bag of ammonium sulfate and I torched my lawn, or I did, something bad happened. Just don't do that. I mean, some person in the labeling department of the company took the time to write that label and try to make it as clear as possible so you can get a good result using their product. So you want to do that. Make sure, honor that person's hard work by at least reading the label and following it. That's what I would do. All right, next up is Fresh Apples. He says, hey, Ron, parts of my Bermuda grass are very lime green. Do you know why? Also, got any advice on leveling? What's the easiest way to do it? And how can you make sure that any ants don't get crushed? That's a first. I've never been asked about how do you have concern for ants as you're leveling? You probably step on ants all the time when you're out in your lawn, right? But again, assuming you're not messing with me, kind of think you are. But anyway, I'll whatever. It's a fun question. It's late tonight. We can answer it. As far as your lawn being lime green, a couple things that'll cause that are nutrient deficiency, so not enough fertilizer, or if you're overwatering, that can also cause the lawn cause Bermuda to get lime green in color. So if you're overwatering it, don't do that. And if you've not been feeding the lawn, start feeding it, and you should find that it should do better over time. As far as leveling, the advice I would tell you is to not go too heavy. Like use a blend, I think, of sand and soil tends to work best. So like a 70-30 blend of compost and screened sand does a good job of leveling, of adding structure, and also adding some organic material to the soil, which I always like to do anytime I'm doing a top dressing job. And then as far as the amount, again, don't go too heavy. So 1/4 inch to 1/2 inch is what you want to aim for. Really, when you're done top dressing the lawn, you are going to have some areas where you're not going to see any grass, which are the low spots. But throughout the lawn, you should see like the tips of the grass sticking up in some spots, right? So if the entire lawn is just like you sand capped it, or it's just all the entire thing is just sand, you probably went too heavy. And the problem with that is if you get any kind of a heavy rain, it's going to make a big mess. And it's also going to increase the amount of time it's going to take for the lawn to recover. So I would not recommend going crazy heavy with top dressing for those reasons. But outside of that, I think I've answered all your questions. And as far as ants go, I don't have anything for you on that, man. Just be really careful where you walk so you don't crush any ants. That's all I got for you. That's all I can do. All right, next up is Ape Roll. It says, hey, Ron, I have dandelions and pollen weeds in my lawn. How do I get rid of them, and what is the best solution to use? Thank you. Yeah, so dandelions are actually not terribly difficult to control. There's a lot of different herbicides that will control them. I mean, most, like a 3-way will do it. Celsius will do it. I think even Certainty's label. It depends on it depends on what kind of grass you have, but most herbicides will control dandelions. I mean, they're pretty easy to knock back. As far as what solution to use, difficult question to answer without knowing what kind of grass you have. I could say something as easy or simple as like a 3-way, something like Triad could work. But if you have St. Augustine lawn or centipede lawn, that would be bad advice. If you have cool season grass, then there's a lot of herbicides I can't recommend to you. So I would say thing one, determine what kind of grass you have. And then based on that, most broadleaf herbicides that are safe for your grass type are going to be able to control dandelions. So that's it. I mean, we carry lots on the golf course lawn store. And any one of those that are correct for your type of grass should do a good job knocking dandelions back. So hope that helps, April. Again, tough to give you an answer of saying use this without knowing what kind of grass you have. Otherwise, I could give you a bum stare and you could end up damaging your lawn, and I don't want to do that. So first thing, identify what kind of grass you have, and then choosing the herbicide to control dandelions becomes pretty easy. All right, next we have Fresh Apples. He's back. He says, when I was creating deep edges for my lawn, I noticed I have some grubs. Is it too early in the season to kill them? If not, how can I kill them? Got any advice? Yeah, so let me get this straight. So you're concerned about ants, but yet you're edging really deep whenever you edge your lawn? That makes sense. Anyway, so the question is, you have grubs in your lawn. How can you control them? What I would use is an insecticide called acelepryn. So I'll show you really quick here, Fresh Apples. Acelepryn comes as both a liquid and a granular. So if you go to shop and then you go to fungicide and insecticide, you can choose either one of these. Acelepryn G is the granular, and then Acelepryn SC, which is what I typically use, is the liquid. Either one of these insecticides will provide excellent grub control. They have 3 to 4 month residuals. So as far as you applying them now, you're going to get good coverage for an extended period of time. I tend to apply Acelepryn in early April, late March, early April. So yes, if you want to get your insecticide out now, that would be absolutely fine. And again, Acelepryn is what I would use. Given that you are concerned about, the environment and not killing ants or harming unnecessary insects, Acelepryn is a good choice because as far as a environmentally friendly insecticide, the active ingredient in it, chlorantraniliprole, doesn't, or it's very gentle on pollinators and invertebrates like earthworms. So if you care about pollinators and you care about earthworms, then Acelepryn is a good choice for your insecticide. So given that you're trying to be eco-friendly, there you go. I got you. I sent you a link there in the chat of where you can pick either one of those up. All right. Next up, we have fresh apples. Next up, we got Flaming Skull 248. All right. That's an avatar name. All right. Flaming Skull 248 is saying, hey, Ron, hope you're having a good day. I just dug out my lawn like you suggested. Okay. Yet after digging out, I realized there's no sod for sale in my area. What do you suggest as my HOA is mad? Okay. Give me some context. When did I tell you to dig out your lawn? What did I tell you to dig out your lawn? And he said, there's no sod available. So you're saying in your entire area, you can't find sod. I'm trying to think of what would I have told you to dig out your lawn. I know last week we had some conversations about people that had sections of the lawn that were higher and they want to know about how to lower that. And what I suggested was like you cutting the sod and folding it back, removing like some of the dirt and then replacing the sod. And if you did that, the sod would still be fine. You shouldn't have damaged it in the process where you wouldn't be able to reuse it. But I'm not sure. I'm not sure what the question would have been where I would have told you to dig up your lawn. I would have told you to cut the sod and move it, fold it back if you're trying to like make a drastic change in the height of the lawn, but I can't. I'm trying to think of what else I would have told you for that, and nothing comes to mind. Anytime the words dig and lawn come out of my mouth, normally it's related to Dallas grass, like digging out Dallas grass to get rid of it, but I can't think of anything else I would have said. All right, next up is Larry Price. He says, how many lawnmowers do you have and how many is too many? Like usable or ones that I actually use, I've got 3. So I have the Allet C27, the Toro Greensmaster 1600, and the newest addition to the stable, courtesy of the very generous folks at Real Rollers, is the Revolution 26. And I got to tell you, I really like that mower. I really like it. Cuts great, fits in all the tight spots of my lawn, and it's especially on the slope, it is an absolute pleasure to use. So, I mean, if you're on the fence about getting a brand new reel mower and you're looking to spend like less than $3,000, the Revolution is where you should look. And is how many is too many? I don't know, man. I mean, I think I'm pretty good on mowers now. I don't really need any more mowers. I'm good. And then you have the one on the shelf here, but that's more of like a prop. That's not really usable. I don't even have a battery for it. I don't even know if the battery or the motor in that mower even works. It's never even been turned on because I don't have a battery for it. So I've got 4, but only 3 are usable. And how many is too many? Only you can decide. That's like fishing poles, and if you're into cars or you're into firearms, like how many is too many? It's kind of a tough question to answer, right? All right, next up is Andre Grant. It says, hey, Ron, a long-time listener. What to do about dog urine on your lawn? I've got 2 dogs who do occasionally. Would love to prevent it, but alas, it is impossible. What should I do? Well, what you can do is what Alex did, and this might be an easier solution for you than not having to do it at all, is to have an area of your lawn that you designate as like a sacrificial area. Pretty much like you train them to go urinate in one spot, in a particular spot, and this can be done. I've seen it done, like Stella, like Alex's his dog. She does that all the time. She's really good about it. She goes out to go do her business, and Alex says, "Stella, go to your corner." She goes to her corner. She only pees there, unless no one's washing, then she'll pee in other spots. But really, when he walks out with her, someone walks out with her, he tells her to go to her spot. She knows where her spot is. She pees there, and then you only have this 1 3-foot section of the lawn where nothing will probably ever grow. But that would be my suggestion. Outside of that, you're just going to be doing repairs. You can use like rich compost to try and help the lawn recover faster from the damage. But the best thing is just to try and teach the dogs to go in a certain area that you just say, this is the part of the lawn that's just not going to look good, and that's just the way it's going to be. There's not really another way around it easily. I mean, you could chase where they urinate with a garden hose. You could like be like, okay, they urinated right here. I'm gonna run there with a garden hose and like soak that area, but that's not really practical. Like an easier solution is what I said. Like teach them to go to one spot and just call that the sacrificial area of your lawn and go from there. So sorry I don't have a better answer for you, Andre, but that's what I've seen done that actually works. Next up is Jimmy Miller. I know, worry about that, man. You said about the messages, no problem. Darian Perez says, what do you recommend for top dressing a new lawn in Texas? Same thing I recommend for a lawn in Georgia. You want to use a coarser sand, so like a mason sand or river sand. And the easy way to find it is if you look up services, like look up, say you're in San Antonio, like look up top dressing San Antonio or lawn leveling San Antonio. The places that will do those services sometimes will just sell sand, so you can get like a leveling material from them. Alternatively, you can call a local golf course in your area and find out where they get material, where they get their sand from, because wherever they get their sand, it's going to be a higher quality sand than what you may find from other places. Like they're not, golf courses are typically not too fond about putting sand on their greens that have tons of like debris and trash in it. So what I would say, Darian, is when it comes to the ratio, if you can find a blend of sand and compost, having a 70% sand, 30% compost or screen topsoil is one that I like, because that allows you to do a good job of leveling the lawn while also putting some organic material, so helping to build up the OM in the soil, which is good. And then outside of that, if you can't find, if you can't find a place that feeds, that supplies sand to golf courses, if you can go by there before they bring it to you, so you can see it, to make sure that what you're getting doesn't have like rocks and twigs and just a bunch of debris and garbage in it, that would be good, because the only thing that makes top dressing harder or leveling harder is when there's all kinds of garbage in the leveling mix. So you really want to do the research, take the time to find a cleaner leveling mix to use on your lawn. So I hope that helps. All right, so we got let's see here. We have Phyllis. We have Phyllis from Texas again. On Instagram, she says, hey Ron, can I use the organic weed control to do spot treatments on my lawn? You got to be really careful, Phyllis, because the Miramichi organic weed control is it's non-selective. So you're really going to want to limit what you spray. You want to limit the air spray to just the weeds you're targeting. Any surrounding grass or any grass you get it on is going to be injured by it. So you want to be really careful. I probably would try and push you more towards like a selective herbicide that's safe for your grass type versus using the organic on there, because it's gonna damage the grass that's surrounding that weed if you spray it. And Azemore 21 has another question. Let's see here. He says, oh, that's a good one. He says, is Revolution 6 blade, what am I hitting here? He says, is the Revolution 6 blade better than an 8 blade based on the spacing? Better? I don't know. But as far as how it cuts, I mean, I've got, my Owlet is an 8 blade. My Owlet's an 8 blade. The Greensmaster's an 11 blade, and the Revolution is a 6 blade. And if I went out and cut the lawn, I can tell the difference. But if I went and cut the lawn, you'd be hard pressed to be able to tell which mower cut the lawn. So there's not a lot in it at the cutting heights that I mow at. So I'm at between 5/8, 3/4 of an inch. At that cutting height, there's really not a lot in it. Now, if you were to go down to like say under half an inch, that's where an 8 blade may shine more. If you're or an 11 blade would really be come into its own as the cutting heights go lower. But if you're cutting at 5/8, 3/4 of an inch, there's really not a whole lot in it, man. I mean, again, I've cut literally in this past few weeks ever since I've gotten the Revolution. I've been rotating mowers on the back lawn. I'll cut one time with the Allet, then one time with the Greensmaster, then one time with the Revolution, and the Greensmaster, and they're all different as far as the absolute like best cut, where you look at it and it's like a pristine cut. If you get down and actually look at it, the Greensmaster does the best job from that standpoint, like because it's an 11 blade and it just cuts better than any other mowers. From a striping standpoint, the Allet, because of the weight, and then the Revolution is somewhere in between those. You know what I mean? But as far as like ease of use, in other words, as far as a mower to live with every day, the Revolution by far is the easiest. For any kind of a slope, getting in tight spaces, mowing around mailboxes or along fences or anywhere where you want the reel just to be spinning, but not necessarily have to have the drive system engaged. Like you can do that with the Revolution. You can technically do it with the Allet, but you can't really push a 300+ pound mower easily without assistance. Whereas with the Revolution, it's heavy enough to be on the turf and cut well, but light enough that you can move it and without the drive system engaged. So is it better? I can't say that it's better, but I will tell you. And again, I'm not affiliated with Real Rollers. I don't get any money for saying this. Giving you my level honest opinion. There's really going to be hard pressed to tell the difference. It cuts really well. At my cutting heights. It's the only caveat I'll tell you. So 5/8 to 3/4, there's not a whole lot in it. So if that's where you're going to maintain your lawn, then you're gonna like the mower. You're gonna really enjoy it. Okay, next up we have on the topic of Revolutions. Jason Harrison sent me some pictures here, and I think Jason, I don't think I showed your picture. So he sent me first of all a short video. This is his lawn cut with the Revolution 26. He sent that in. So he got his stripe action going away from the house. And then he shows some lengthwise stripe action here in a little bit, I think. This one he's still working on. But yeah, you can make it out. You got some lengthwise stripes as well. But yeah, it cuts that lawn's cut with the Revolution looks great. And I think there's another one he sent me. Nope, that's not that one. I'm not sure where the other picture is you sent, Jason. But yeah, his lawn is cut with a Revolution 26. And if you're over here on YouTube, I just put up a short video showing it. And I think I've got a picture. Yeah, I got a picture of it right here. Yeah, so this is a picture of his lawn cut with the Revolution 26. And that looks legit to me. It's pretty good. Looks pretty good. Most of you guys will be very happy with that. So again, there's not a whole lot in it. For someone that's like that, again, I've got three excellent mowers, and they're good. They're good for different purposes, but most people you're not gonna be able to tell the difference. They're, for all intents and purposes, at 3/4 of an inch, you can use any of them and you're gonna get a great result. If you care about amazing stripes though, the Allet is the king of that. So that's one that I'll give you that, but it's also like crazy money, and I wouldn't really recommend it for most unless you got a lot of money or you got a really big lawn or both. It's not really practical for most people. All right, so next up is Quincy. He says, I sprayed what I thought was crabgrass with Conclorac. The most the herbicide did was purple the leaves. Turns out it was Dallas grass. So the Dallas grass looked at you and said, man, you got to do better than that, man. You got to step your game up. And you're right. Dallas grass is pretty nasty. Again, dig it out. You know what to do. You know what to do, Quincy. Dig it out. That's the answer. That is the way for Dallas grass. Dig it out. All right, we got a super chat. Let me get down here and grab it really quick. We got a couple. No, we got one here. One first from Dr. YouTube, where he says, thanks for the advice.
Super chat received.
I appreciate it. And then next up is Theodore Nobles is up next.
Super chat received.
He says, what's up, Ron? I had grub damage in the fall, and now I have bare spots. I put down Caravan G and got some humic max, like you said. Question is, should I put down black cow compost on the bare spots as well? It can't hurt. It can't hurt. Yeah. I mean, any kind of a rich compost is going to help if the grass in the surrounding areas spread into that area better, faster. It's certainly not going to hurt anything, is what I would tell you, Theodore. So yeah, sorry you're dealing with that. Sorry you got grub damage. You're taking care of it with an insecticide, which is good. And you got a quality fertilizer. And it sounds like you're going to put down a nice compost to help, speed things along as well too. So all the stuff at this point is just to wait based on what you have described. Thank you so much for the super chat. I really do appreciate all the love and support. All right, next up we have Tony. Says, hey, I returned Scott's Bermuda seeds to Home Depot and bought some Yukon Bermuda grass seed. I was wondering if I made the right choice. Thanks. I mean, yeah, Yukon tends to be higher quality than the blend that you'll get from the big box stores. You know, I mean, like good Bermuda grass, good grass seed is expensive. Like you think Bermuda grass seed is expensive? Go price zoysia. Like when RN15 was still a thing, a 25-pound bag was like $435, right? And zoysia is quite a bit more than that. Zoysia is quite a bit more expensive than even Bermuda. So yes, I think you're going to be happier with it. Like most things in life, you tend to get what you pay for when it comes to like anything, and grass seed is no different. Tony says, "What's the best way to plant these seeds?" It depends. There's some people that will pre-germinate them. I don't do that. When it comes to putting out Bermuda grass seeds, when I did it in the past, I don't really recommend it these days. But if you're going to do a renovation and you're going to be doing a Yukon as your grass seed of choice, what I would do, because Bermuda grass seed is so small, is get some sand and mix them together. So I get like a 5-gallon bucket and put the sand and the seed in there and mix them up, and then put that in my spreader and use that as I throw the seed. What I found is that tends to help it not blow around quite as much. It makes the application a bit easier, a bit smoother, a bit more even. That's the other advice I'd give you. To prepare the surface, you want there to be good seed to soil contact. So I'm assuming you're doing a renovation. So you want to, if you can thin out, or I guess you've already killed off the existing lawn, but as much as you can, you want the grass seeds to be able to be in contact with the soil. So again, I'm assuming that this is a renovation you're doing, that there's not really any grass, so that shouldn't be a problem. The only other piece of advice I'd give you is if you want to accelerate germination and just improve the how well the grass seed grows in, consider putting out a compost. So there's tons of different ones out there, like the one that the other gentleman just mentioned before, a black cow. You could use that. One that we like and carry on the golf course lawn store is a product from Miramichi Green called Carbonized PN. This, you'll have to use like a leveling rake or some kind of a rake to move it around, because it's a soil type product. You can see what it looks like right here. You can see it in my hands. There it is. That's carbonized PN in my hands. And so that you're not going to be able to put that out with a broadcast spreader. You'll need to use again, like a rake, a leveling rake, or if you have access to like an Eco, Eco makes those top dressing machines that will also throw the carbonized PN without much trouble. But yeah, you can either rake it in or use some kind of a top dressing machine to be able to apply that. So I would use something like this as part of your seeding project. That is going to help. It's going to help you with germination. It's going to help germination rates. So I'll send you a link to that if you're interested, Tony. But it sounds like you've got it largely figured out. So there you go, Tony, and that's the link to carbonized PN. But yeah, and then water. Once you're done, make sure you water it for 2 to 3 weeks. Water a couple times a day. Don't allow the ground to dry out. The Bermuda should germinate, and then just keep up with it until you can start mowing it. You should be good to go. All right, Jason Sewell is up next. He says, "Happy Friday, Ron, and all. Thoughts on a double cut. Do you double cut every time, always same direction, or do you switch directions with the second cut?" I do double cut sometimes, not every time, because it takes twice as long to mow the lawn, and I mean, I got stuff to do, so I can't do that every single time. But for example, actually, it's a good video to show you. So sometimes I will cut the lawn. If, say, for example, today I mowed the lawn in this direction, so I mowed back and forth this way. But like, so I mowed today this way. The next time I mow, which will probably be maybe Sunday, I will mow, wait for it, I will mow that way. So I'll mow over the same stripes, but in that direction. So I do alternate the mowing pattern each time, but I don't double cut it each time, because again, it's just a time thing. I mean, normally leading up to, say, like the 4th of July, when I want it to look really, really, really crisp, I'll double cut it, but every single time would just take too much time, man. So yeah. But to answer your question, yes, I alternate the direction every time I mow the lawn. All right, next up we got Jake. He's back. He says, even for the first app, I sprayed at 0.5. So I guess it could be Tifway 419. Yeah, it could be. I mean, again, if you live in a subdivision, it's more than likely 419. I mean, I know I've heard of some places, some people have said, yeah, they put common Bermuda in, but most places it's going to be Tifway 419. So it may just be, unloved Tifway 419, which can kind of look kind of bad, but it's probably Tifway 419. Because if you're assuming you sprayed Primo assuming it's common, and you sprayed Primo at the correct rates, you should not have nuked it with, if you sprayed at the correct rates. If you, 0.75, again, I still wouldn't do that for the first app, but the common should have tolerated it better. So you probably do have hybrid. All right, next up is Michael Raymond. He says, first time, look at here. He says, first time following your schedule this year, incredible difference versus this year versus the last. Thank you. I'm glad to hear that. You believe it or not, I get quite a bit of flack about my lawn care schedule. People say, oh, you put so much stuff on your lawn, you do so much stuff. It seems like a lot of work. And I'm like, yeah, but I'm not trying to achieve a basic lawn. I'm not trying to be like your neighbor that mows their lawn every 2 weeks. So it's for a person that doesn't really care about their grass or does it mows every now and then yeah, what I do seems like a lot. But for a person that is after, you can look at this way. Like if you look at someone that's trying to run in the Olympics, it's very different to a person that just enjoys jogging for exercise and for fun, right? I am trying to create like an Olympic level, like a gold medal type lawn. So it means the entire program, my approach to it, the products I use, all that stuff has to be different. Not necessarily like you say more, like the approach is just completely different because it has to be to get those kinds of results consistently. But I digress. You say this unbelievably greener. So I can't wait until July to see peak results. Thank you, Ron. You are very welcome. But again, you did the work. I mean, I laid out the calendar and gave you some advice, but trust me, if you just read it and you don't do it, you're not going to get the results. So, while, yes, I provided some guidance, it's like 90% you, 10% me, right? That's how I would say it. And it'd be interesting. I mean, if July is when your lawn peaks, that'd be cool. For my lawn, it's June. June is when I find is when I'm happiest with it. I mean, you guys think it looks good all year, but really for me, there's like 2 or 3 week period, late May, early June. I look at the lawn, I'm like, yes, if I could just freeze this, it would be awesome. But I can't because I can't. So that's all part of it, right? It's all part of the chase. But I'm glad to hear that your lawn looks better than ever. Love to hear that because it shows that like the program and what I do is not just a sample of one, right? There's a lot of people that can take it and produce awesome results in their lawns. So keep going, man. It's going to get even better. Even better. Every year it's going to get a little bit better. Just keep going. All right, next up is Josue Araya. Josue Araya. He says, I want to top dress my lawn, but would it be okay to use masonry sand if I'm on a budget? Yeah, masonry sand is a great choice. Sure. I'd like to use the super sod mix, but it's a pretty pricey. Yeah, so here's the thing you'll run into, Josue. I agree with you. You can typically get masonry sand around here for less money than you can get the leveling mix. But what you will find is that there's going to be stuff in it. There's going to be stones and twigs and other garbage in it compared to the super sod leveling mix. So you are paying what you're paying for in money for the super sod mix, you will pay for in time with like a masonry mix from somewhere. Because I tell you, I've used a lot of the ones from the ones in this area because I've top dressed my lawn a bunch of times. And by far, the super sod product is the cleanest out there. I used to have a short video I used to showing you like how little debris came out of the lawn from the super sod, from the leveling mix, from their stuff. I might not be able to find it, but literally it was like 6 or 7 bags over the entire back lawn. And I got like a handful of pebbles that came out as part of that, and I can't find it now, so which is annoying me. I'm sorry, I'm not seeing it here. But the long short of it is there wasn't a single stone that came out of the entire 8,000 square feet of the back lawn that was larger than a dime. Like it was, and that you're not going to get that with your typical masonry sand that you get from a a local supplier, but you're going to pay more for it. Like I said, like I told the other there, I found it. Here we go. Pebbles. Yep. So see that that's what came out of my back lawn, the entire thing, 8,000 square feet. And there's a dime next to it for reference. So imagine putting down 8 yards of material of sand and compost. And that's what I had to get out of the lawn. So that's really good. You're probably not going to get that. Not probably. You're not going to get that with masonry sand. So again, it's really up to you to decide, do you want to trade time or do you want to trade money? So once I experienced that, I'm like, money, they can have the extra, the extra whatever it costs for that over like a yard of just standard masonry sand, because it just makes life so much easier. And their compost is a really quality compost too. So that there's also that. So it's just something to consider, Josue. I get it. You're trying to do it on a budget. I get it, but I mean, there is a reason why it costs what it costs, because it is by far, in my opinion, the best leveling mix that I've ever used, and I've used a bunch of them. All right, next up we have Brad Greer. He says, Ron, do you sell T-shirts and apparel? I can't find it in the store. I do, but they're not on the Golf Course Lawn store. You have to go here for them. So I'll get the link here. This is the link to the merch store. Yep, here we go. Found it. This is the link to the merch store. You pretty much order. Why is this not working? You pretty much order it, and they are made to they're made to order. So yeah, they've got like beanies, t-shirts, hoodies, and I got to get the hat back up here. I used to have the hat, my stripe action hat, but I don't have that up there right now. But yeah, this is where here's where you can find it, Brad, if you are so inclined. That is the merch store right there on that link. I appreciate it. If you get some of the merch, send me a picture of it. I like to see folks repping the stuff, repping the stripe action shirts. All right. Let's see here. Mike's your question. 29, no job, no direction. I got 350K, 20. I don't know, man. Probably the wrong. I don't know. I guess it depends on how you define winning. Probably not the answer. Probably not the question for this live stream. But if you're happy, I'm happy. You like it, I love it. All right. Next up is Josue. He says, also, after doing the screwdriver test on bare spots, ended up digging up a 120-pound piece of concrete the builder left. Say less. Are you implying that the builder would leave a big chunk of concrete and just put your sod over it and be like, you know what, nice grass, too bad, it's not going to happen? They would never do that. I don't believe that, Josue. I think you're fibbing, sir. There's no way that a builder would ever do that to you. But you pulled it out. You said you got rid of it. You used topsoil to backfill, but it seems to have a lot of mulch. Yeah. So case in point, So that's what you're going to experience if you. Not all of them, but for a lot of river sand that you get, in your case, you use topsoil that has mulch in it. But with river sand, the thing you're going to mostly find is stones. You're going to find that they're going to have like bigger than pebbles in it. But yeah, I mean, you're just going to have to get some fill dirt and just keep building it up, and then relay the sod. That's all you can really do, and then level top dress afterwards, is what I would say. He says, would it be fine leveling it, or would I remove and use something else? It depends. I mean, if I would prefer to use something that doesn't have a bunch of like bark and mulch in it, because all that's going to happen is that's going to break down, and then you're going to have like a low area. You know what I mean? So I wouldn't. If you're saying it's largely mulch instead of dirt, I would not try and backfill a 120-pound void from a rock in the lawn with that. I would use like fill dirt, like actual dirt, where it's just dirt, right? I would use that instead of a combination of dirt and mulch. I think that's a bad idea. And next up is Dalen Krause. He says, hey, Ron, I keep up with the soccer fields in small town, Oklahoma. I'm in the process of renovating them. In the goal areas, I'm starting from scratch with no grass, going to use Monaco. Nice, man. Take pictures. I want to see. He says, would it be best and beneficial to lay the seed, then roll out some peat moss and manure over it to hold the moisture? Should I do anything different? Yeah, so I've never done that, Dalen, but I'm in the minority as far as not putting out peat moss. Most people, when you put out grass seed, they will put out peat moss for the reason that you said. So yes, is it a good idea? Absolutely. If you're going to put manure over it, make sure you go light, because Bermuda grass seed doesn't need to be buried very deep to grow. And what you don't want to do is put the grass seed out and then cover it up with like half an inch of manure. That would not be good. So you really want 16th to an eighth of an inch. Not very much, to get that grass seed to grow in. What you could do is prep the area and then put out the manure first, then put out the grass seed, and then lay your peat moss on top of that. Like the peat moss on top of the grass seed, I like that better than a layer of manure, because I think it'd be too easy for you to go too heavy on that. You know what I mean? So if you're not going to go too heavy, then fine. But I think the peat moss, because it's so light and fluffy, and I mean it's difficult to really go too heavy with peat moss. That it as the last application is a better idea than manure. So hope that helps, man. Take a picture of it. I'd like to see what the soccer fields look like once you're done with it. Sounds like a cool project. James Smith. He says, reel mowing. Have you had a chance to try a floating head versus a fixed head reel mower? You know what, James? I have not. I've never used a floating head reel mower. I'm trying to think. Nope. They've all been fixed head. I had a chance to see one from a golf course superintendent. Interesting how the reel unit has a left-right float, but you said kind of like floats over. I'm not sure what the last part is. But no, to answer your question, no, I don't have one. And what's interesting about this is, I asked the folks at Jerry Pate about this. Whenever I was in the market, when I was looking at getting a like a new greens masher, I was saying, hey, I want to get like a new one. How much do they cost? And I found they were like 16 grand. I was like, not getting a new one. And I asked them about, floating head versus the fixed head. And they said for a lawn like mine, the fixed head is going to produce a better cut. If you have you're mowing a green, or if you have a lawn that's a little bit more bumpy, then the floating head can be okay. But really, he says for my lawn, they said stick with the fixed head is what I was told. And they're the Toro guys. They supply, they are the Toro reel mower people for the Atlanta area. So I stick with what they recommended. But yeah, no, I don't have a floating head one, and I probably won't ever have one for that reason. Okay, next up we got Matthew Kim. He says, Ron, my man, just got my Primo Max in. I just got it down on my Bermuda grass. How long does it take to go into effect? When can I start mowing my lawn? And how often would you recommend applying it to your lawn? Great question, Matthew. So how long does Primo take to go into effect? 2 days. So if you apply it on a Monday, 2 days, you start seeing a reduction in how fast the grass grows. You could resume mowing that Thursday. So you applied on Monday, you could give it Tuesday, Wednesday, and then start mowing again on Thursday. And as far as application, I would do it every 2 weeks. So I'm a fan of taking the monthly application rate per the label and cutting that in half and spraying it every 2 weeks. I think that produces a better result, and you don't really have to worry about the lawn coming out of regulation if you do that. And if you want some guidance around a blog post that I have on this very topic, I will find it and link it in the chat for you, so you can understand some of the why behind why I do it that way. But yeah, it sounds like you're gonna enjoy it, man. Like Primo is awesome stuff. Growth regulator is awesome, especially if you are reel mowing. It's at shorter heights, it's almost a necessity, because it when it gets to be really hot out and Bermuda begins really taking off, it just becomes a hassle during the summer months to be able to cut it as frequently as you have to and not cause scalping. Whereas the Primo just slows it down enough to where it can look good all year round. So yeah, check out that link I just sent you to that blog post, and I think you'll enjoy it. It's fairly short and has some good guidance on strategies for using growth regulator. And yeah, I think again you'll get some value out of it. Dalen, we already answered Dalen's question. And then next up is Ken. He says, will Nutrizolve mix with Yard Mastery products, especially the Green Kick and Green Effect? I plan on using the Anderson's HCU and mixing everything together and spoon feeding this season. I don't know. If the Nutrizolve is designed for foliar feeding, meaning you spray it and allow it to dry on the lawn. If those products that you're talking about are designed to be watered in, then I personally wouldn't mix them. I would use a fertilizer that's designed for foliar feeding. So I don't have the answer for you, Ken, but based on what the label will tell you on those two, you'll be able to know whether or not you can mix Nutrizolve and those ferts. So hope that helps. Next up is Michael Raymond. Actually, no, another one. We have Nicholas. I'm going to try Alderetti. I think I did it. Alderetti. Maybe if I mess up your name, I'm sorry. My apologies. Overgrown weeds, all kinds, including foxtail. What's your opinion on tenacity to tackle it all? Depends on your grass type. If it is a cool season lawn, tenacity is a great option. While temperatures are still cool, you could also go with a 3-way like Triad, Triad Select that we carry. That would be a good option. Tenacity doesn't really have any label restrictions, so you can use it as temps get higher with less chance of injury. But it depends what kind of grass you have. From what you're describing, Tenacity could work, and a 3-way could also work. So yeah, I mean, either one of them would should be able to do at any rate. Either one, if you've got a lawn that's overrun with weeds, either one will put you in a much better place than where you are now. And then if you have to use a different herbicide to clean up like some of the more stubborn ones that they don't have coverage for, that would be a different thing. But a 3-way or Tenacity should do a pretty good job based on what you're describing, Nicholas. But again, Tenacity is designed for cool season grass, so make sure that you're using that on a cool season lawn. Or centipede, I should say, or centipede. I need to make sure, because people will be like, oh, someone will go in the comments section and be like, no, you can actually use it on centipede, and that's warm season. But it's really designed for cool season turf grass. All right, Michael Raymond is up next. He says, granular fungicide and liquid acelepryn going down tomorrow. 1 to 2 inches of rain expected over the next 2 days. Any issues with applying before expected rain? No, it's a good thing. It's free, saves you water. It's a good thing. It's got to be watered in anyway, so apply it, wait for Mother Nature to water it in, and go on with the rest of your day. Free water is a good thing. Next up is Ape Roll. Says, hey, Ron, can I use surfactant sticker with my weed killer to get better results? Depends on the herbicide. For most herbicides, yes. For most herbicides, like using Celsius, Certainty, Tenacity, a 3-way, most of those work better if you use or add surfactant to them. If you're spraying more of a specialty herbicide like Velocity PM, like designed for, controls other weeds too, but primarily designed for controlling Poa annua and Poa triv, no, you would not use surfactant with this. So unless the label will typically give you guidance and say it's safe, you can use surfactant with it, or with this one, it literally says, do not use surfactant of any kind. Like it says in the label and also on the manufacturer's website, like literally the first bullet they give you on guidance is do not use surfactant of any kind with this product. So if you don't have anything like that, any kind of warnings, then yeah, you should be pretty good to go. All right, Sure Guy says, cool season lawn. Last fall, I renovated my whole lawn with Stucky Bluegrass. This spring, my KBG is slowly growing. Can I use PGR Primo Max this spring, or should I wait till this fall? So once the lawn is filled in, you're happy with it, you're mowing it regularly, and if you want to introduce Primo, by all means, go for it. So in other words, Primo is not like herbicides on cool season lawns. So a lot of conventional guidance will often say, if you just establish a new cool season lawn, you don't want to use herbicides on it really for a year. 6 months, it's kind of borderline, but really they say a year for best results. But Primo wouldn't really fall into that category. Once you're mowing the lawn, if you want to use growth regulator, that would be okay. And he said, I have mowed it for a second time now. Cool. So here's the thing I would say. When you're mowing it, and it's you're mowing it regularly, which it sounds like you're starting to get to that point, and you're feeding it, which you are, then yeah, you can start looking at growth regulator. And you said that some areas are spotty. Yeah, so wait until the lawn is established. That's what I would tell you. You went through a renovation project. The lawn is still, I don't know what some areas are spotty means, but if I'm just thinking what that means, thinking to me, it means there's still fairly large sections of the lawn where there's not grass or that grass is thin. So if that's the case, I would omit Primo. I wouldn't do that. Now, when you get to the point where it's like 90% filled in and you're mowing a few times a week and the grass is looking really good and you want to start bringing some growth regulator in, sure, go for it. But until then, I would just wait. Next up is Tito Serrano. He says, I took a soil test this January and I have been treating my lawn according to the test. When should I do another test? Again, thanks, Ron. Yeah, so Tito, I've done tests every quarter. What I find a good medium is test your soil in the spring, and then if you want, test again in the fall, because the fall soil test, here's why, I'll explain it. The spring soil test gives you good guidance to drive what fertilizer applications you can use on your lawn that year. And the fall soil test does two things. One, it allows you to measure the effectiveness of it. You can see like how the nutrient levels have moved in the soil based on the applications you've been putting in. And then second, if your soil pH needs adjustment, knowing that in the fall gives you ample time to make the application, maybe a lime or a sulfate out, depending on what you need to do, between then and the next growing season. So twice per year is what I would say is a good cadence for doing your soil test. So hope that helps. Spring and fall. Spring and fall. And again, and maybe, who knows, after several years of doing it, like if you get like an understanding of the ebb and flow of how your lawn works, like say, every year, in the fall when I do my soil test, after a couple of years of doing this, I need to do a lime map, then just do that. Maybe you can start omitting the fall one, but testing at least once a year in the spring, I feel is still a good idea. Still good, good insurance, because fertilizers are not cheap, and you want to make sure that you're using the right stuff on the lawn based on what your soil needs. And Sure Guy says, I assume the PGR will slow the spreading capabilities of the KBG. Not so much the spreading, but you want it to grow up too, right? It's a new lawn. You're wanting it to fill in and establish. So I really won't want to do a whole lot to limit its growth, given that it's brand new. You know what I mean? Just let it do its thing until you're mowing it regularly and it's largely filled in. All right, Jamie Smith is signing off. He says, night lawn loving fam. Don't forget to hit that like button. We all know Ron sleeps better with the more links we give him, the more likes we give him. I appreciate that. That is true. That is true. I am vain like that. I do, the likes, likes or dislikes, either one works. Just engagement is all I ask for. Okay, Joseph Duque says, it says, hey Ron, I did a soil test and all three of my macronutrients were low. What do you recommend? I would recommend a fertilizer that has all three of them. So nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium. So what I would go with, Joseph, is this. If you go to the golf course lawn store, go to shop and then lawn fertilizer. And the second fertilizer in that collection is the complete 14714. It's got a bit of nitrogen, a bit of phosphorus, a bit of potassium, and it also contains a micronutrient stack along with kelp. So you're putting some iron, some manganese, some magnesium, and it's also got some kelp and humic acid. So as far as like complete feeding program, it's a great choice. That is what I would use for a soil test that reveals your lawn, your soil needs a little bit of everything. So I'll send you a link to where you can pick that up in the golf course lawn store. And I appreciate the question. There you go. And then next up is No Name. He says, hey, Ron and fellow lawn enthusiasts, happy Friday. It's starting to stay in the 80s and my Bermuda is loving it. Yeah, man, it's starting to take off. It's funny is I have a short that I filmed from when I was mowing today. I'll post it tomorrow. You guys can see, and they'll show you, even with the temperatures we're getting now, how well growth regulator works. Like I mowed the entire back lawn with the Allet, and it was, you can see like the clippings, it was like not even like a quarter of the basket. It's like very, very little clippings came off the lawn. So even with these temperatures, growth regulator is doing its thing. And then I think you're pulling my leg here, flaming this go. Just, oh, that makes so much sense about the Dallas grass. I thought you were talking about my entire lawn. I was talking about my entire lawn at a local dump, but my HOA is going to kill me. I need a solution. Okay, I think you're just trolling me. And if you are, well done. Hopefully you can find some sod to fix your lawn that you completely dug up. So it's late. I'm good for a joke. Why not? Kevin Barriga says, hey, Ron, can I apply fungicide as a preventative and fertilizer at the same time? So if you're asking me, can you apply fungicide and fertilizer on the same day? Sure. How I would do it is this. If you're going to say, let's say you're going to put out Humic Max and you're also going to put out Headway G. I would do Humic Max first, and then I would do Headway G afterwards. What I would not do is if you're spraying a liquid fertilizer, like say the Release 901C carbon kit, I would not spray that along with say Pillar SC, because Pillar SC needs to get in the soil and the 901C carbon kit needs to be sprayed and allowed to dry on the grass, on the leaf, right? And the spray tips you use for those applications are different. So if you're asking applying them on the same day, sure, no problem. If you're talking about spraying them or applying them at the actual same time, I would not do that. So hope that helps, Kevin. Any other questions, let me know. And I've actually got a video that I'm going to link for you in the chat that answers this very question, that talks about the order for applying lawn care products. And I think in it, I was talking about using a Celeprint or applying a Celeprint at the end, but you can check this out and I think you get some value out of it. So Kevin Barriga, order to apply products. There you go. It's a short, less than a minute, and you'll see how I like to do it. And then I explain the why behind it, and hopefully it makes sense to you as why I do it that way. All right, next up is Rob. He says, I've cut my Bermuda at 1.5 inches all year, and it's really doing well, but it still shows a few brown streaks. Should I cut it at 2 inches? I'm not using a real mower. So your options are, Rob, assuming that you're not scalping, your options are one of two. Either raise the height of cut or mow more frequently. Because at 1.5 inches, if you are not, say you're mowing only once a week, you're probably cutting off too much leaf that's going to cause the brown spots that you're seeing in the lawn. So before you raise the height of cut, if you like the way the lawn looks at 1.5 inches, I would try introducing an additional day of mowing throughout the week and see how that looks. What you might find is, or you probably will find, is assuming you're not scalping, the lawn will look a lot better and it will stay green in between mowings. So yeah, that's typically that's typically the guidance, right? I mean, the general rule is the lower you mow your grass, the more frequently you have to mow it. And in your case, it sounds like 1.5 inches is not super low, but I mean, as it gets hotter, even once per week could be a challenge at that height. So before you take it up to 2 inches, try increasing your mowing frequency and seeing how it does. Okay. Next up is Glycan's rule. Says, doing a renovation overseed project. Do I need to wait for some kind of time period after my post-emergent treatments to make the post-emergent has not had an impact on the seeds? Okay, so if you're doing a renovation, Glycan's rule, I would avoid herbicides of any kind until the grass that you're planting grows in and you're mowing it. Because what you don't want to do is get out there and have brand new grass seed. You go out and you spray herbicides, and if you go a little bit heavy-handed, you damage the grass you just put all this time into growing. So you want to wait for it to be established, and by that I mean grown in, and you're mowing it before using herbicides. Now, if you want to spot spray here and there, like just again spot spray meaning you're just targeting the weeds, that would be okay. But as far as any kind of blanket sprays, absolutely you want the lawn to be established before you do that, because again, you put a lot of time and effort into this, and you don't want to go out there and nuke your lawn that you just put all this time into. So hope that helps, sir. Yeah, just give it time. Don't be in a rush to get out there and spray herbicides on a brand new lawn. And he said, also, are there any timing issues with use of fungicides and insecticides, assuming with seeding? No. So fungicides I wouldn't have a problem with, and insecticides also shouldn't be an issue there either. I mean, again, obviously stick to the rates on the label. Herbicides are the one that you really want to be careful with, because here's the thing you got to realize. Even if you go out and you get a herbicide, take Celsius, right, which is a great herbicide for warm season turf grass, even though it's safe, when used at labeled rates on the correct grass types, it's still a stressor. Like, even if any kind of herbicide you spray on a grass, even though it's designed for that grass type, it still just introduces some kind of stress to the plant. It just your grass just tolerates it better than the weed does. You know what I mean? So for a new lawn, brand new grass seeds, they're just trying to find their way in the world. You don't want to get out there and stress them by spraying herbicide on them. So if it were me, I would wait until it's established, you're regularly mowing it, and then if you want to spot spray or use herbicides, then sparingly, that would be okay. Fungicides and insecticides, you should be good to go. Like that shouldn't have an effect on your seeding project. All right, next up is Dalvin Larry. He says, let's see here. He says, hey, Ron, I'm sure you mentioned it, but I'm on the golf course lawn store buying Primo and TP, I guess Turflex, Turflex, but there's no Turflex, and I know it's not coming back in stock. You announced a replacement. If so, what is it? Oh, Dalvin, so you must not been here for the early part of the live stream. If so, let me fill you in. So there are two new offerings that are coming to the golf course lawn store. One is going to be a replacement for Turflex, and another one is going to be a micronutrient. So I'll show you them first. So right now on the store, you've got these guys. You got Turfplex occupying this section and Nutrisolve occupying that spot. They're both going to be replaced by these. So the replacement for Turfplex is going to be this, which is the Golf Course Lawn Blend, a 22-3 fertilizer that I worked with the Andersons on over the course of the past year or so. We started talking about it last year. They got me. We tried a couple of different formulations. The big thing with this is that I wanted something that could absolutely be used for spoon feeding, and that you never have to water in. So you spray it on the lawn. It works by foliar uptake. There's no need for that to water it in at all. In addition to that, even though it's the same formulation as what Turfplex is, we added fulvic acid to it, which is going to help again enhance that nutrient uptake. It's really going to help with foliar feeding. And the testing that I've seen with the micronutrient product, I absolutely do believe that it has made a noticeable difference. For example, you guys have been saying this year, again unsolicited, that the color of the lawn is better this time of year than it's been in years past. The only thing that's different between this year and last year as far as inputs is the micronutrient that I'm using. So it's still the 901C carbon kit, but instead of using Nutrisolve, I'm using the micros, which I'll show you here in a second. So in addition to having fulvic acid, Turfplex had 0.1% of iron. In this case, we have 7.5 times that, so 0.75% of this product is iron. So as far as if you wanted like one fertilizer, if you didn't want to use like the carbon kit, you just wanted something that was pretty well balanced and was going to do a pretty good job on all grass types and has most of what you need. That's what we aim to do with this. And again, we've included a kelp product just like was in Turfplex, but what's new is the addition of the fulvic acid, which Turfplex did not have. So application rates are similar, 6 ounces per 1,000. Is what I'd recommend if you're going to be using it. And yeah, really excited to seeing the results you guys get with it. That covers Turfplex. Next up is the micronutrient replacement, which is this. So the difference between this and again Nutrisolve is the addition of fulvic acid, and we actually put more fulvic acid in this than we do in the 22-3. This has got 1.5%, whereas the Turfplex replacement has like 0.6%. So this is quite a bit more humic acid in it. And again, the biggest difference between what you guys are seeing last year and this year as far as color has been this fertilizer. We've been through a couple of different rounds with the Andersons, which is who is going to be making it for us. To land on this, we tried different formulations, different versions of both dry and liquids, and we settled on, or I settled rather on this because I really like the results. I've tested it with Primo, obviously the carbon kit, with herbicides, with fungicide if you care. So I tested it with a bunch of different products just to make sure there's no weird interactions, and it passed all those tests well. And again, I really like the results that I'm getting with it. I mean, if you guys see how the lawn looks this time of year, like what you're seeing is the 901C carbon kit with the micronutrient and the fulvic acid that's in it, producing that kind of color. And again, unsolicited this year, I've gotten a lot of feedback saying the lawn looks really good. I don't know what you're doing this year, but it looks really better. It looks awesome compared to years past. I'm like, interesting. So I think you guys are really going to like it. As far as time to when it's going to be available, here in the next week or so, I plan to replace those two on the store where you'll be able to click the notify me when available link. So you'll be able to put your email address in to get notified when it comes in stock. And we intend to start shipping it ideally by the end of this month. So right now, I'm going to start manufacturing and shipping end of May is the goal. So we shall see. But yeah, that's the new hotness, Dalvin. You saw it. If you look in the Golf Course Lawn Academy, because you are in the Golf Course Lawn Academy, look, like earlier today, I posted the labels in there, so you guys saw it before anybody else. So if you want to get the labels and actually dig into them a little bit more and look at them closer, you guys have them in the Facebook group on the Golf Course Lawn Store. So you can always do that. All right, next up is Josh Wicker. He says, I have 13-week-old Tahoma 31, nice grass type. The lawn is looking strong. Do you think I can sand top dress? Sure. Yeah, I mean, if you want to top dress it, absolutely. Just go light, Josh. Just be sensible about it. I would apply the sand no heavier than half an inch, so a quarter to half an inch of material on the lawn will be just fine. The Bermuda will tolerate that without an issue. And yeah, 13 weeks. That's over 3 months. Yeah, that's gonna be just fine. But just don't go heavy. Like I said, a quarter of an inch to half an inch is what you want to is where you want to be as far as how heavy of coverage. Dalva says, never mind. Just saw the Facebook post. Thanks. So why you make me go through all that all over again, man? He says, my next question is, when due to my poor planning, I don't have anything for my mid-month application. Soon, the end of this month. It's not going to be middle of the month. I'll tell you right now. It's going to be closer to the end of the month. But yeah, sorry, not going to be this month. So, but yeah, soon you will have it. Soon you'll have it. Next up, we have Mike Kaminsky. He says, hey, Ron, I'm using a rotary mower and bagging the clippings. Does it matter if I replace the blades with a regular versus mulching blades? That's a good question. I don't own a rotary mower. I don't think I've ever owned a rotary mower since I've been here. So if there is a mulching blade option, but I guess a question for you. Here's the thing. I don't know the answer to this. I don't know, because I don't have a rotary mower and I'm not sure. I don't know why would you put a mulching blade on the mower if you're bagging the clippings, other than I guess it makes them finer. I don't know the answer to that, Mike. I don't know. I'm sorry. Outside my wheelhouse. I do not own a rotary mower. I have not owned one in forever. So I don't know the answer to that one. I would think it'd be okay, but I mean, why not just keep the mower that you have now, right? Keep the blades that you have now. All right, next up is Matthew Kim. He says, hey, Ron, forgot to ask another important question about mowing and pre-mow. Okay, well, good thing you got it in because we're almost done here. We're about to wrap up. I've been cutting every 2 days. Can I cut once a week, or 2 days is recommended after pre-mow? You can reduce the mowing. I have not, even though I can cut less, I still mow the same frequency. I just hardly anything comes off the lawn. So it's really your call. What I would say is that per the label, you can expect a reduction in mowing and clippings that are produced by about 50%. But what I would do, Matthew, is if instead of mowing every 2 days, maybe say go to mowing every 3 days. But going from 2 days to once a week is a bit extreme. And if it were me, I would still mow your grass. I would just maybe take it out an extra day if you want to. I wouldn't go from 2 days to once a week. I don't think that's going to produce the result that you're going to like. So hope that helps. And then next up we have Dalvin Larry. He says, awesome, thanks, you're very welcome. And then I don't know what question you were asking. DeWiz, you said, I've asked this question many times to YouTubers and I can't get a straight answer. I'm not sure what question you're asking. Is it Mike's question about this mulching blade? I don't know. I'm the wrong person to ask about that because I'm very much the real mowing guy. So you ask a question about a real mower, I can give you some feedback on that. But as far as I'm just thinking about it, so a mulching blade, I would imagine it produces finer clippings, which I don't understand. If you're bagging them, why would you care? Why would you want that? I mean, I'd be inclined to keep the standard blade on if you're going to continue to bag the clippings, and go to a mulching blade if you're going to start mulching the clippings back into the lawn. Is what I would say. Is what I would say to that question earlier. But again, I don't know. I'm just answering based on what makes sense to me, but I could be completely wrong. All right, let's see here. D Wiz's question is this. He says, should we be watering on top of morning dew? Is morning dew the same as rain? Can you go into what morning dew is? I know it's moisture on the lawn. D Wiz, can you water on top of morning dew? Yes, I do it all the time. When I run irrigation on my lawn, I water my irrigation is set to run at 4 a.m. So there's dew on the lawn then, and I water on top of it, and it is just fine. So dew is water. So, and you're putting water on top of water, so it's okay. And lastly, our last question of the evening is Space Cowboy Space Camp Dropout. It's good handle. Says, is there any recovering a Bermuda lawn that was sadly level, I guess badly leveled / not leveled with sand, but some construction type sand that's made the yard very dusty ever since top dressing, aerating. Please help. Is it can be recovered? Sure. I mean, it just depends on how bad it is. I mean, if it's what kind of sand are you talking about that would cause that? I'm not sure what kind of sand you're referring to. The answer your question is yes. I mean, if they put some kind of a dusty construction sand down, you're not going to be able to remove it, but you could top dress the lawn or with like proper material, or you could just bring like a nice compost in and top dress the lawn with that. That's probably what I would do. If you've already got some kind of sand was put on it and the sand was not the best, I might do a light top dressing just with compost to help bring things back. That is the way I would go. I probably wouldn't do more sand. I'd likely just do around a top dressing with just compost and see if that helps with recovery, space dropout. So yeah, sorry you're dealing with that. Without seeing a picture of it or knowing exactly what you're talking about, it's hard to know for sure. But if they use the wrong type of sand and a whole lot of it, I don't know that adding more sand is gonna help the situation. I would go with a nice, rich compost instead. All right, guys, gals, on that bombshell, that will be it for this evening. Again, thank you guys so much for taking the time to come hang out with me and ask all kinds of great questions. Some I could answer, some I could not, but hopefully you guys had a great time anyway. We've got fertilizer, fungicide, insecticide in stock on the Golf Course Lawn Store. Here, by the end of the month, hopefully we'll have the new hotness available, the Golf Course Lawn 22-3 and the Micros blend that will be exclusive to us and available on the Golf Course Lawn Store. And again, you guys, I really think you guys are going to enjoy it and like the results you get with the product. So get out there, have some fun this weekend, mow your lawn. I will see you guys next week. As always, be safe if you're out there having margaritas on Cinco de Mayo, and I'll see you guys next week. Take care.